Good morning, Wisconsin, and welcome to the Huddle.
I'm all for someone huddling if you have something to say.
It's time to wake up and talk about the teams you love.
Everybody wake now! Everybody wake!
With the guys you love.
It's just about getting the group together. I need you, you need me today. Let's keep touching each other. Let's make sure we feel each other. Let's make sure we smell each other's breath.
Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
You need 15 or 20 huddles to correlate with a number of cameras.
Take the cameras off the field, then there'll be no huddles.
Now gather around because it's time to huddle up.
West left slot, 323 wide stick on one. Ready, Biller, for blitz. If it looks like man coverage, I'll check. I'll go 200 yet. You got to cut and crack. Now cut and crack. Red, right, 18, Bob on one. Ready, cut him and crack.
If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here and try to run this play in the alley.
We know exactly what we got to do. All right? That's all the ball got to do. Let's go out and kick some tape. From right, hey, 1, 2, 3.
Keep doing what you're doing. You got to sit our guys out and make the play.
B right, all the way outside. Y left, fake, 396 bag. D hand, C puck. Is that long enough for you?
I want you to be proud of your profession. It's a great profession. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it.
With Drew Olson,
mythical, legendary figure.
Bill Schmid.
Oh, my God. This man's been out all night.
And Armen Sarian.
Zit, don't get scared now.
Sanchez, we ready?
Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin is on the air.
Greetings and salutations, smart, good-looking insomniacs throughout Wisconsin and beyond. Welcome in to the Huddle. Best way to start your day, we think, and that's science. Drew, Billy, and Armen bringing it to you from headquarters. Not playing naked today, boys.
There we go.
Eat and drink. I can eat and drink with impunity.
Ooh, I did bring in breakfast and I left it at the desk because I didn't want to allow it. I brought in a little breakfast I was like, the last thing I want to do is be eaten in front of Drew. So I'm back, baby. When I came in here and I saw the beef sticks holstered up next to Celsius, I knew we were double barreled, ready for action.
You know what kind of thoughtfulness this guy Bill Schmid has, Drew. He was gonna make a Screaming Sicilian yesterday. He was gonna fire one up. And he said, I really. Billy and I went to Billy and I have a meeting every day. You're not in there for it. It's not to any reason.
Our 5:45.
It's our 5:45 urinal meeting, and we're both in there, taking the pit stop. And he goes, "I just can't do it. Can I
give it a shake?
I just can't do it." I was like, "Oh, you know what? You're a good man for not doing that."
I thought about it. I was like, you know what? It would have been some good content, but it would have just been cruel and unusual punishment.
And that's what we talk about when we hear of like your brotherhood, looking out for your brother, Ubuntu. We can't be that was the old Doc Rivers phrase that he used with the old elite Celtics I think it was, where it's like, you can't be as good unless your brother's as good as he is. That's what that's about right there. I mean, that was an amazing
rising tide lifts all boats, baby. Yeah. Come on now. And that's the kind of pressure we're putting on.
That's the one right there.
Yesterday I had to have some lab work after the show. Had to be on a fast, and it's tough to do when, usually you have those things at 9 in the morning, from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. That's not a heavy lift.
That's an easy one. That's going to be an easier one.
Sleeping. I mean, I've already done that fast the last time. And what time is it?
That's not a heavy lift at all. But then, yesterday, because of our hours, I had to cut it off, and I had my last meal probably 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, and then I wheeled around, and then it got to be 9:30, so it was a bit longer than usual. And the tough thing is no caffeine,
especially the third hour. I think but the good thing is we're bringing enough intensity, I think, in the first to be able to throw a couple of fastballs. Maybe not 104 hitting an apple, but we're bringing some heat early, but late I think is when it starts kind of dying out.
True, but we're back at it. So that made me think though, and I felt okay after you hit 14 hours with no drink and no caffeine, no food. I'm like, and we had talked yesterday about doing the 72-hour water fast to see what happens. In science, do it as a brotherhood. Well, what do you guys think? I mean, the first of the month is always a good time to start stuff, but that's a Sunday.
Yeah, it's a Sunday.
Eat during a Sunday.
Can't do it. Especially that's gonna be Armen's last weekend of college basketball. That's a tough thing to be able to do.
It's hard for me during
regular season college basketball, right?
I got to get I got to get in shape. Summer's coming up quickly, and kind of been slacking and sloughing off. I was just on the beach for a week, and I'm like, all right, I got to get in better shape as we get closer. So I told Johnny Vegas we have another trip scheduled in May. And I'm like, okay, so March 1st gives us like a 60-day window.
Yep.
The intensity starts Sunday.
Yeah. The thing is, I always would try and, manage some of those winter, weight you put on, afterwards, and then say, okay, if summer's coming up And, it's not walking season for me yet, but I did do a mall walk yesterday.
Oh, look at
to
you.
get that started because, it's still cold out, so I can't really do my
Were you,
walks outside.
in the stroller? Did you have the stroller with
No,
you?
I didn't
Didn't take
actually.
Lena?
No, I
pushing him
didn't.
around.
I didn't. I went right after I left here, and so then that way I could manage that and time it out. And
do you bring different New Balance to put on once you get to the mall?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. That would be.
I didn't know
really
if you just
intense.
changed your shoes like you do
If
when
I
you get to the gym.
reloaded
Yeah,
the
okay.
Brooks,
Sorry.
have just the mall walking Brooks to
Right.
walk
Like,
through.
listen, these ones I don't want to get dirty because these are my good ones.
It'd probably be a good idea because I'm pretty sure they haven't cleaned that floor in years. It's Southbridge. No, to no fault of their own. There's not much foot traffic there anymore, but it's basically me and the walkers. Now, I did have a question in myself yesterday as I was kind of walking by the empty storefronts. It's like, could I actually start jogging? Because I think jogging at the mall is a bit too far. Mall walking is one thing. It's just I don't feel right about jogging at the
when
mall.
there's no crowds anymore.
Yeah, I know, but it's still weird.
They should
isn't it?
embrace it. They should probably
Turn the upper level into a track.
charge
man.
people.
It's basically a walking track right now.
And then Armen's like, that's where Chess King was.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and
Pointing out all
that's
the
where
beautiful
Spencer Gifts used to be.
Well, they do have that. I was
Look at
a
my
little
first
upset.
star-studded belt.
The guy at Lids put the gate down. It was like 11:30, and it said back at 11:45. And I'm like, what's that about? But I'm like, you know what? He's got to
They
eat
need to
lunch
go to the
too.
bathroom.
And they only have one person
They
in
got
there.
one
They used to
guy.
have four. Yeah.
Anymore, it's one person.
Now, the interesting thing is, wow, that's two people in this show in a week went to Southridge Mall because we were there this weekend.
I like Southridge.
This
actually.
weekend, food court was buzzing.
That's the one place that's buzzing.
Absolutely buzzing. Now,
Everybody's gotta
granted,
eat.
you throw a Rocky Rococo's just about anywhere. It's going to be
Oh
hard
my
to not
gosh.
get action there as I watched somebody walk out with about 6 pizzas.
Yeah, that was tough to walk by and not indulge on. Let me tell you, very
Mhm.
much.
And
Yeah.
that negates the walking.
Right,
Right,
cool.
yeah, you got to
That's
just
it.
cut your
That
walk a little
super
bit away
slice.
from there.
Yeah,
That super slice. The Rocky Rococo is so strong.
Oh,
still.
dude.
it really hits perfect.
It does. It's like in terms of pizza snobbery and stuff. No, it's not good pizza, but it's
No.
for us. And if you grew up eating it, it's
It's going to hit really close to
comfort
home.
food.
I brought it up yesterday. My wife goes, you've now said 3 times since we saw that guy walking out with 6 Rocky Rococo pizzas. We should get Rocky
Let's
Rococo
go.
one of these times.
They always did the
that's a-
heart-shaped pizzas
They did.
for
Better believe it.
Got that once about 4 or 5 years ago. We haven't done it every year, but one year for Valentine's, I went and got it, and it was pretty good.
But listen, I was excited. I was excited to see some action in there outside of Armen just walking. But you start running in the mall,
That's too
I
much.
do believe you're going to get somebody to whip out a 4K camera that they've brought.
Yeah.
Because there's people that are there to TikTok, right? There's people there to film some content. And if you start running through the mall, I think you will then quickly become guy that comes up on the random video that I find scrolling through 1,500 different ones while I'm doing the 3 S's.
Yeah, that's totally true. I absolutely would. And maybe you'll actually see it on the internet asking yourself, is this AI? Is this real? Because
There you
everyone
go.
in the world could not wrap their heads around still believing everything in the internet's real, which I love,
I can't wrap my head around the food court being bumping because at Brookfield Square, there's I think maybe even one vendor left.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
nothing.
everything's chain
People
link
gotta
gates.
eat. Yeah.
There's nothing.
Well,
There's nothing.
Southridge still does a good job with that, I got to say. People are picking up DoorDashes and stuff like that. You can see
Mhm.
the workers are down there eating, and you know what? It's
Man,
an interesting
But
situation.
the tough thing is, you go in, you could only go in through the food court, Drew,
Yeah.
because all the other anchor stores where you used to walk in and park, damn near closed.
JCPenney holding on, man.
Let's go.
Isn't that sad though? Because
Very
the mall is
brutally sad.
high school kid. That's the first place you got to go, and your parents would just drop you off, and you got to hang out, and run into people from other schools, and
I was every time I'm in there,
The
not
hub
to
of
be
your
dramatic.
social life.
Yeah, absolutely. I was always overwhelmed by the idea that this used to be the place to be, and that we were in these very halls with your friends were there. You'd meet up with people, a lot of stores, obviously a lot of activity, the hub of activity. We would hang out at the mall, So.
I mean, I was in high school when Mayfair was the first to, I guess, one of the times that they put in the curfew limits.
Yes.
And that was a little bit of a stunner. We're like, wait a second. What are we going to do then if all of a sudden they start telling us we can't go to the mall at 7 o'clock?
Where we hung out. My parents dropped us off. There were things to do.
And then quickly we realized that we were just going to listen to bad mix CDs and just cruise up and down Highway 100 other, Southside.
there you go. Highway.
I will say
find another spot.
Mayfair's still popping pretty good, but
Damn right.
Southridge it's not at much the same, but it's still a nice facility if you want to go and do a few laps. I've also figured out it's a quarter mile from end to end, and you got to go all the way around. So I it's not that bad actually to do a mall walk in, and I do it.
I think you should start filming some of these. I think you're
get one of
sitting
those
on an
cameras.
absolute gold mine here of somebody filming Armen interviewing somebody on his mall walk.
Do little tiny mic.
You got to have a small mic. You got to have a mini mic action.
I think Armen should dedicate himself to starting the trend of mall jogging, not mall walking, mall jogging. But you're gonna need a certain outfit. There's gonna have to be. You're gonna have to wear. You're probably gonna have to jog in the old man New Balance.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, I got the Brooks. I got the New Balance.
Or the Air Monarchs, the Nike Air Monarchs, the old man shoes, the dad shoes, the grandpa shoes
for my wide foot kings.
And then I think it's imperative that you got to go black socks.
I was going to say black socks, Drew.
Dress socks.
Probably a little bit like cuffed up sweatpants that go a little bit over the socks. And this feels like an absolutely risk the only branded logo champion crew neck sweatshirt jog. Like that feels like you got to be out there with no logos, just putting in some absolute effort.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, there are definite angles there, and the content angles, Billy, are something I really should start thinking about more. I mean, this is the content-driven society we live in now in 2026. So
that's true.
There's got to be something out there to do. Yeah, I mean,
there might be an anti-ends deal.
All right. For you. So what are we going to talk about today besides Armen's mall walking and my finally being able to eat in the morning and beef stick, chicken stick, Celsius, all the food groups covered today? Well, thankfully, it's Hot Take Hump Day. Take your hot takes. NicoletLaw.com, talk text line 877-794-1973. And as people know, and maybe they come to us as a bit of a respite from the real world. We're your little oasis. We're a little sandbox for you to play in to start your day. Doubt. But last evening was the State of the Union address. We don't do politics on our show, but this is usually the day after the State of the Union when we could do the State of the Union in Wisconsin sports. Let's take a look at the entire landscape. Where are we compared to last year? Where are we? Is it a bright future? Is it a bleak future? Is everything, seashells, balloons? Is it, parades and puppies? Or should we be hunkering down and getting ready for some dark times? We have, the Bucks winning last night. Still, 7 out of 10 now?
7 out of 10. And guys, I don't know. Like they were down 7 later into the fourth quarter. I think it hit 102 or 101-92. And that felt like a moment where a lot were going to start feeling like they could pack it in because it just felt like they weren't going to be able to get stops. Portis hits a quick 3 to like either tie it or trim it within 2. And then instantly down the floor, transition bucket. They throw the inbound pass away. It's a quick 4-point run. And you desperately needed a timeout. And they didn't cave, and they came out, and Kevin Porter Jr. amongst the other 3 in the backcourt, awesome. The young, explosive backcourt, Drew. Listen, the 7 out of 10, you don't want to overreact. You don't want to put too much into it. But dang, if the State of the Union was January 25th compared to February 25th, a much different state that we're talking about for the Milwaukee Bucks right now.
And frankly, what no one else is trying to do is win games late, come back and win. That's the thing that no one else in the league is trying to do. I have to keep bringing it up, but that's the one thing about
especially under 500 teams. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
But how about Kevin Porter, man?
So, Porter and Rollins, man. And now it's like, okay, so when Giannis comes back, they're going to break up this chemistry of the team that's won 7 out of 10 games. I don't know. You had the big fella back. How are we going to mix him in?
Well, and Jang, I mean, how am I pronouncing his name right? Jang.
Yeah. Jang.
It's like, how do you manage those minutes in that sense? Or if you get somebody, people have talked about Middleton, but you're right. Yeah.
Bucks won a game. And then now we had Goody. We'll spin through his comments later in the program from the combine. Maybe they were blindsided by the Bisaccia departure.
Sounded a little bit more like it. Yeah. Wow.
Kind of stunning. But the fact that they were going to roll with him and then their hand was forced, which might end up being a good thing. But yeah, the overall landscape, the Brewers starting again in their usual position, coming off a division title, the best record in baseball, and no one believes that they're going to do it again. Smoke and mirrors.
And the only thing people are talking about is the social content department that has fired out 2 absolute heaters in the last 2 days.
Yeah, the Freelick Grand Theft Auto and the Mizorowski William Tell with the apple on the head.
Oh, my goodness. Whatever. It's hilarious. But then you also have one of the younger ball clubs with an emerging star who might end up becoming Captain America. If you're talking about the WBC with Bryce Durang, he's got a chance to be one of the breakout national stars, I think, of the tournament, right? If he performs the way he did at the back end of last year, he's got a chance for people to really understand how good he can be, and not because he's taking headlines like PCA, just trying to take a cheap shot at Dodger fans. Listen, brother, you guys do it too. Let's not throw stones out of glass houses over there on the north side of Chicago. However, Brewer State, definitely the cleanest, the one that's felt the best, the one that most people wouldn't feel like they have to discuss too much.
Absolutely,
it's also almost like if we did get political with it, it would almost feel like the housing market where everybody wants to talk about it, but everyone only talks about it in a potential bad side, right? Like everybody knows, hey man, I got my house. I'm paying my bills. Like it seems like okay for me at this point, but it's going to get really, really bad on this end. Kind of like Brewers fans. Listen, it's really, really fun. I went to the game last week. They won 8-3. We went last night. It was awesome. Got a bobblehead. They won 4-2. They're in first place, but just wait till October. Right? It's always just like wait till
just around the corner.
Just around the river bend is the trouble coming for Brewers fans that they want to continue to think of.
That's a good point. But when you do think about, state of the sports union and where all of our teams are, you do kind of think of it as like, expectations relative to their performance and equity, like a home equity, who's ahead, who's behind, who's paying their mortgage. The Brewers are paying their mortgage well. They might not be in the biggest mansion in the world, but they're always ahead. They're always succeeding. They're always, they're never in debt. I'd say them and Wisconsin basketball are the two teams that are constantly able to perform at their level and deliver good performances.
I agree. But then Wisconsin football, they weathered the storm. The fact that Fickle and the regime is still there when
they didn't foreclose yet. Yeah.
The cry was there. Like the pitchforks and the torches were out. And now it's like, oh, maybe they'll be okay. Schedules are way easier, and like maybe they'll be okay. We'll see when they take the field against Notre Dame what we're looking at. We don't know what Colton Joseph's going to do. So
looked like he threw a nice pass into 114 at the Bucks game. I did like that. I did like that spiral.
Oh, nice.
That was pretty sweet. He was courtside.
Courtside at the Bucks game this weekend.
Got a nice pop from the crowd because there was nothing else to cheer about that day.
Dang right. Yes.
Asses getting a garbage time basket. So yeah, just any thoughts. So tailor your hot takes. Hot take hump day is a wide open thing. You can do whatever you want. You can say, Cool Ranch Doritos are overrated. It's one of those things like change my mind. You're sitting at your stand, plant your flag, make an assertion. Bolder the better. We used to be sticklers and say no predictions, but if you want your hot take to be the Brewers are going to win 92 games, all right, we'll take it.
Yeah, listen, who
are we to say no? Right?
We're not going to judge. We're going to be excited. And listen, it's not a hot take. This would be a prediction, maybe a spoiler, maybe just a hopeful one. I mean, the hottest take is if the NFL really wants to explode internationally and they really want Germany to like football, make this Lions and Packers that they announced yesterday. The Lions are going to play over in Germany.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people said, wait,
don't want to.
They can't put a division game overseas. Well, they got one in the Southern Hemisphere to start out the year. Yeah, I think they'll figure it out. The NFL doesn't care. Put the best game over there. Germany's earned it. I think they've suffered through. I think you started out their first game was Panthers and Giants. Now let's give them a game that's worth watching.
And if we know one thing about the NFL, they'll eventually do it. They'll eventually do everything. They'll eventually play on Wednesday, on Christmas. Overseas.
They're playing on Wednesday this year.
Yeah, they're playing again. It doesn't matter. They're going to do it.
Start the year off on Wednesday.
At some point, if you want to push back on it, resist it, the NFL traditionalists like me that don't want games on, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. So just let it happen at some point.
Too bad the way the schedule aligns. I just have this, the Lions, I thought, Germany, who spent a lot of time over in Germany laying the foundation for the NFL last year and stuff? Joe Thomas.
Yes.
Who I interviewed at the Wisconsin Athletic
Beautiful,
Hall
yes.
of Fame.
Hall of Fame beef.
Joe, Hall of Fame beef. I thought, well, maybe they would send the Browns over there. But when I heard the Lions are going, the Browns don't play the Lions this year. So I thought, but I bet Joe will have a hand in, promoting that game because he just spent like a year in Germany.
100%.
So I thought, well, that would be natural. But maybe the Packers, he's from Wisconsin. Maybe that's the hook.
Might be a good connection. Might be somebody to help you out. I just, again, if you really want to give the American fans an experience as they roll over there, listen, Detroit fans, I do believe they're going to have themselves a good time. Even though Michigan feels a little bit different, they're Midwest. They love it. They're hardy. They're hunkered down. You know what? We're going to drink that place after Oktoberfest. Wake everybody back up because this game probably ends up in November. That could be a good experience for the NFL to be able to see.
I might have to plan some international travel because I would love, if the Packers were sent to Germany, I'd love to go and then go see the Badgers the year after in Dublin.
Dude.
Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Oh, an August game, like end of August, early September in Dublin. Both of those would be incredible.
Yeah, in the Dublin trip, again, it feels as bucket list as you can get because it's the perfect time from what I've been able to see to hit Ireland. Like that is the time of the year, the best time to be
There's no bad time to hit Ireland.
Well,
I mean, it might rain a lot. I actually, when I was there for like a week or 10 days or something, I had this stretch. And I think it was April, and it was an incredible stretch. It was 60 degrees and sunny every day. Hardly saw any rain. Everybody's like telling me, "Oh, this is unbelievable! Like you're seeing an incredible stretch." I'm like, "Well, you're welcome.
I brought this over.
Exactly. Brought it over from the States." One of our few exports, no tariffs or anything, just brought it over.
Tough thing is, Drew, then if it's sunny outside, you almost feel bad spending most of your time in the pub.
Well, that's true.
Right? At least you go drink some of it outside.
Not
really.
really.
That's fair. That's what you're here for.
Yeah, that would be epic. So, all right, hit us with your hot takes. And again, the theme of today is the state of the sports union, because I think, despite the disappointments and the NAD kicks and stuff, I still think it's strong. I still think this is a pretty good time to be a Wisconsin sports fan, all things considered. Like we may be at the end of the Giannis era. Badger football's in a little bit of a inflection point, perhaps, where they got to bounce up. Badgers are looking good. Marquette, down year.
Yeah.
Right. Admirals, Calder Cup hopes, we hope. We're going to talk to Greeny today. But it's all on the plate. The state of Wisconsin sports is our theme today. So hit us up, 877-794-1973. All you early risers on YouTube, we appreciate each and every one of you. Feel free to have your own discussion in the comments section and hit us up as well. It's a hot take hump day in the good land, and we're glad that you're huddling up with us, the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Hump day in the good land. The Huddle underway on this Wednesday. The week's flying by, boys. Back from vacation, and we're already at halftime of the week.
It's incredible.
Halftime of the show comes up in about an hour when Dolph drops in.
And as quick as the shows move, last week we were just flying through, and Hunter just every single day, right around the last break, Hunter would just take a deep breath and go, oh, I can't figure out how fast this show's going. I can't figure out how fast it's going. Man, time flies when you're having
It's just
fun.
3 hours of your day between 5 and 8 when the sun is coming up and the roosters are cockadoodle-doing.
And people are jonesing for some conversation and some excitement. And a lot of people, I think, living in some excitement, Drew. I don't know as many people. It's not as crazy for a lot of people to stay up at, past 9:30 to be able to see the result of a basketball game.
Used to be.
But, man, your boy fought it last night. And I'll be honest with you, felt like I was going to pack it in when the Bucks went down 7 into that fourth quarter. And I'm sure glad I didn't once I checked the notes and then realized that it was 111, 110 right away. Man, that was compelling and a run away late. So that was exciting. And talk about some wind in the sails earlier this morning. I'm throwing the Bucks shirt on as they get ready to take on the Beard tonight. That was some good wind in the sails early on this morning.
It was cool.
For Deer fans.
It was cool to see him play so well. Cool to see him. The young Bucks had that run late, put up one of those 40-point super quarters. The thing is, this is going to sound weird, but it is one thing to appreciate right now if you're a Bucks fan or you're a basketball fan or a casual in this state, because a lot of teams in the Bucks position, I'm going to reemphasize, they're not trying to win. And the Bucks sort of seem to be like they are right now, and that's at least a better entertainment value right now as a fan.
That and guys, I think this is one that you knew they had to find, Drew. They had to find some young guys that could play and some explosive dudes. And you asked the question, that is the big one. The first question is, when is Giannis coming back? And when do they plan to have him playing? Right,
like doing 3-on-3 and 4-on-4, so it can't be that far away.
It can't be. It's got to be somewhere in this 9 of 10 games at home. You would assume. Yeah. I know the team would like him probably to be back earlier so they could get more ticket sales, because the State of the Bucks Union last night. State of the Union it looked a little barren in there for a certain amount of times.
I saw the establishing shot at the beginning of the broadcast, and as FanDuel Sports begins its farewell tour, of the dying days of the regular season here and into the first round, but. Yeah, it was like there was nobody walking in. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, there looked like a lot of empty seats dressed as fans, or fans dressed as empty seats. However, listen, that's going to happen when you are, 7 games under 500. Armen, when teams are actively trying to lose, and your best player's not there. But it comes at the right time where they have a month, the 6 weeks-ish, to turn these young players, Drew, and see if they can win a little bit Are they going to win the NBA championship? Absolutely not. Could they win a round in the playoffs? I don't know. Could they win 2 of the play-in games and get you excited and get Giannis a little bit excited about the pieces?
Ding, ding, ding.
Absolutely, and that's the biggest win.
That's the biggest one right there. Keeping Giannis
at the cost of the draft pick and the assets and stuff. Can they? Well, it's like they beat the Heat last night. Heat is currently in the 8th seed right now.
They'd be one of the teams in their play-in game.
And they beat the Heat, and the Heat's like 31-28, something like that. That's not a good road record for them. They haven't been playing great lately.
Yeah, the lately is the big one.
Neither have the Magic, the Hawks. Like, none of those teams ahead of them are that scary, right? Like, they can clips off and get Giannis back, and it's hard to imagine them going on a much more of a heater than winning a 7 out of 10. Like, they didn't do that with Giannis. They were 15 and 15.
And you're basically a game and a half out of the 10 spot, which would be playing obviously, but you're even in the loss column with the Hornets, because they play 3 more games and they're all win. So in that sense, you'd have your own destiny.
But on a tough side, they're in this one weird conundrum where the year was mostly going to be a gap year. You knew that you could identify it, that it had to be a gap year. Pressure's definitely on. The big swing during free agency appears to be one of your biggest anchors right now. I mean, like 19 minutes for Miles Turner last night, and he just doesn't look comfortable at all.
No,
doesn't look comfortable at all. And Jericho Sims is playing him off the floor. That's a bad thing overall, because you signed him to a $100 million contract. But in a year that's a gap year, that you're trying to identify some pieces that you might be able to play with and find some guys that you can run with, it has given more leash, where instead of $25 million player, we know he's okay, he's taking a load of the shots. You're not able to give him the majority of the load of the shots, and you're having to force some of these young guys. Ryan Rollins, I saw the Ringer posted him as a top 100 player earlier this week. Kevin Porter Jr., we just mentioned him, explosive. And Cam Thomas, You knew he could score.
Shit bucket getter. Yeah.
But can he score on a team that's starting to win some games? And this is probably the most winning he's done in a week since he's been in Milwaukee.
There's no doubt. 877-794-1973, Hot Take Hump Day. Once again, the theme is the State of the Union, because we had the speech last night, and we're doing the State of the Wisconsin Sports Union. Where are we in the overall landscape? In the 6 o'clock hour, we're going to hear Brian Gutekunst's comments from the Combine. Some interesting stuff there. Starting to get it. It's so funny how they're always so guarded. Packers have traditionally been, and all GMs are, right? And this time of year, like, well, we expect everybody back. Really? Like Rashawn Gary's coming back.
Expect him to have a really, really big
Elton
year
Jenkins,
for us next year.
He's played back.
You sure about that? No guaranteed money on that contract?
You sure? Like the cap guys and stuff. Like, well,
obviously he's not going to roll up and say, "Here are our cuts." Like, I get it.
I get that, but it's like, and maybe he could just give us a thing. Like, I know people get triggered when we bring him up, but Counts was always good about that in his post game. Like, that Armen sucked today. Gave up 7 runs in an inning and a third. Like, what is he headed for Nashville? Is he going to be moved out of the rotation? Well, we're going to have a conversation.
We're going to have a conversation about that.
Which was yes, but we haven't. We're not ready to tell you yet.
We didn't tell him.
Yeah, we need to tell. We need to talk about it. We're going to have a conversation. Goody needs a code like that. He needs like a code phrase. Like with Counts, it's like, oh, we're going to have a conversation about that. Oh, all right. Well, that means tomorrow he'll be on the bus to Nashville.
I was going to say when he says, that's what we're planning on. That could be the cue for that guy's gone, because that was kind of the Aaron Jones wording it was. That's what we're expecting, right? For Rashawn Gary, we're expecting that he has really good performance.
He did some really good things at the back end of the year without getting any sacks.
Yeah,
but
for
he had
the
a lot of pressure.
Jaguars.
The fact that he mentioned back end by actually literally said back
on
like,
purpose.
He was saying really, like the back end of the year, but he didn't have a sack. And
that's what I mean. Now
after November,
I know it's not all about sacks. I get it.
Yeah,
but judge and they grade, but it sure didn't seem like the back end was his best time.
That would hit that nail on the head.
Yeah. Is Rashawn Gary, like, as we do the State of the Union, the State of the Wisconsin Sports Union, where's Rashawn Gary in the rankings of most disappointing athletes in the year 2025 into this year? Because when they got Micah Parsons, like, he's gonna feast.
Yeah,
and he did.
Yeah, after
a couple weeks,
2 months, he's 7.5 sacks, and he's one of the top 3 sack getters in the NFL.
And then he got on a milk carton,
and then doesn't get one for the next 2 months. Didn't get a tackle for a loss in the next 2 months. Players that had a tackle for loss in that time frame. Rashawn Gary wasn't one of those guys.
So you can have your, not a Mount Rushmore, but a list of guys who disappointed, right? Well, Giannis's health has been a disappointment.
Yeah, you mentioned Miles Turner.
Miles Turner
right there.
Miles Turner is probably at the top of that list.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. Depends how local you want to get it. I have to say my guy Chase Ross hasn't really done what Marquette fans thought he'd do as a senior. Like leading a team. The team's not been good. He's been okay, but not
gave
amazing.
his shoulder last night.
He did, but
Miles Turner's at the top of that list, I would say. Brandon McManus.
Oh, that's a good one.
Even though there was a great run there, it was just far too inconsistent late, and then just absolutely sends it down the leg.
Yeah,
Aaron Banks maybe.
Aaron Banks would be in the conversation. Yeah. I think there's some people, and this is one that on a hot take hump day got kind of flared up because of a Florio combine conversation. Maybe just a little bit disappointed in Matt LaFleur not taking more shots at Ben Johnson. Maybe just like a little bit disappointed that we're taking the high road.
Did you see?
I figured we would, but I would appreciate us taking a little bit of a pot shot at the other side on 1.5 times speed on the clip that I find on
We have
Twitter.
A friend who's pretty plugged in to the Packers, and he told us, like, LaFleur needs to take that personal, and he needs to relay that to the locker room, that he wants to kick Ben Johnson's ass.
Yeah.
He needs to make it about, and then get the players invested in that it's not, you can lean on, well, it's Packers Bears, it's the history, and LaFleur's own him. He's been their daddy for a long time, but he needs to lean into that Ben Johnson thing and get his players behind him on it. That's one of the things that stood out to me as we sift through the rubble of the season stuff. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, Billy, is the stuff that Nags posted it the other day too, about Packers players not caping up for Jordan Love when he got cheap shotted a couple of times. And that's generally on the O-line.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you come down on that? That is something like they need more nasty, or they just need, it was stunning in the headshots he took against the Bears and the Broncos. And it just kind of didn't register, and no one kind of was in the neighborhood to.
Very much true. And
So,
Drew,
as an offensive lineman and our guru, our go-to guy, where do you come down on that? What would you say if you're the offensive line coach?
I thought the Hufanga one in Denver was one of the more egregious things I've seen without any bit of a repercussion. When Love is over onto the sideline, on the Packers sideline, I believe. Like I'm 99% sure it is on the Packers sideline.
Yeah, and he
Hufanga gets up, shoves his head down to the ground, and there is not nary one of the 11 guys on the field, let alone the entire sideline blowing a gasket and having your dudes back. I get the Austin Booker one. Again, I didn't even think it was really that dirty of a hit. Nah. I understood the 15-yard penalty. I didn't really think it was all that malicious. The guy plays aggressive. It's going to happen. But when it is your player, like the clip of Bradley Bozeman, who ends up hanging it up yesterday, the center for the Chargers, guys like trying to roll and twist Justin Herbert's ankle. He goes in here and full-fledged lays into his head and takes an absolute shot. I would appreciate one of those. You want to play above that, right? You'll do it during the whistle, and we'll get him back for the next 30, 40 plays. There's a moment when you have to make a statement. That one would have been one. The Hufanga one was the top of the board for me in the worst and most egregious situations of it. But Drew, the part that is really frustrating, because you mentioned it, as you start respinning through some of the games and start seeing more of it, and NFL Network has played the wild card game 1,500 times, and my kid loves watching it for some ridiculous reason.
Because he's awesome.
For a team that not that game. Oh, that game's not very good. The wild card game's not all that great.
Old games is my point.
But like, for a team that likes to bark, and for a group that had a lot of talking after the whistle, I would have thought that would be the moment that it's warranted, and one that had a group have somebody jump onto a pile after the whistle and didn't touch anybody. Like, that would have been the situation for somebody to earn a 15-yard penalty, and maybe we wipe your fine off once we get into the kangaroo court inside of the locker room later on.
Is it too simplistic to say, like, maybe if Elton had been playing, or like Zach Tom, or like, can you expect a Belton or a Morgan to go in there and be that guy and cape up and do that? Or does it take more of a veteran presence? Some guys are just predisposed to it, right?
Yeah, I think some guys just are about it.
People are bringing up like Sitton and Lang would not have let that.
Would never have let that happen.
Those guys also had equity as starters where they weren't going to be.
Yeah,
it was. I could also.
They were
see
a little bit more
comfortable
in their own position.
I can't be costing my team 15 right now.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, you don't want to hurt your team by getting a penalty.
But if you're protecting the franchise, and if Anthony Belton would have grabbed Austin Booker by the neck and walked him back into the end zone and started something, I don't believe that would have been the one that said, hey, you're going to have to sit down.
That one.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the one we would have been okay with.
The false start, like out of a timeout or something like that, you're going to blow a gasket. But caping up for your quarterback, I don't think they're ever going to get mad about that.
No.
But the rookies, do they know that? Do the first, second year guys know that?
I'm just saying it's a fine line in your head in the moment to thinking, should I react this way or not? Because on the flip side, the Bears were the team that were reacting emotionally, getting a lot of personal fouls, and it almost cost them. And I can't remember the game. It was the second game.
It was the second game. Yep.
It should have cost them. It didn't. But I also get the function in protecting your guy, and then the symbolism of saying, hey, we're here to protect you, and we're letting everybody else know you can't mess with our guy.
There's some of it that this isn't going to fly.
DNA of their team, yeah.
And I wonder if, and now we can, really go 30,000-foot view, or we can, paint with a really, really broad brush about, 2026 athletes coming through. I think there's some of that's going to be a question rolling forward of how much of those unwritten rules of team, Drew, do you see, and how much of those are somewhat lost with the amount of transactional play that there is and the amount of movement that there is.
Good point.
Like, one of the reasons why Sitton and Lang wouldn't have let that happen is because they knew Aaron for 10 years.
They're personally invested,
right? Like, and there's some of that where these guys know each other for about 7 months, and that can be tough. That's where I wouldn't put it too much on one of the rookies. I would wonder where Zach Tom was, because the Denver game, he was on the field at that point. But like, you spin through it, he took far too many shots for nobody to earn themselves 15.
I mean, Sean Ryan's supposed to be kind of a brawler, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
And, a lot of people are pinpointing, that's the game you pinpoint.
That's going to be an easy one.
That's the game you easy one. You say, things turned around during that game. That's the game you pinpoint to say, things seem to turn around for the negative.
We're going to hear from Goody in a little bit. Once again, Hot Take Hump Day, and the theme of Hot Take Hump Day today, we don't usually do themes, but since it was a State of the Union last night, we were avoiding politics. State of the Wisconsin Sports Union. Any hot takes you have about where we are in the landscape, where the teams are, where they're headed, and just in general, I think generally the state of the Wisconsin Sports Union is pretty strong.
Might not be the good old days, Drew.
No, room for improvement, but it ain't bad. It's not horrible right now. Let's as bleak as as people's your preset, you're preconditioned to be pissed off and pessimistic. But we're gonna try to be even-handed about this as we move forward today. We're glad you're hanging out with us. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin.
Seinfeld growing up? You know
Just a
Seinfeld?
little bit.
Okay.
Why do you ask?
Well, because I'm going to ask you a question the way Jerry Seinfeld would. What is the deal with the Packers?
Who likes the Packers?
How much of that is leaning fully into your job as Bears coach, and how much of it is how you truly feel?
Yeah, I mean, the Bears and the Packers, they should not like each other. I think it's as simple as that. And I think that's going to make this rivalry, this game, something that people are going to watch here going forward.
Have you talked to Matt LaFleur at all? Because I feel like he gets confused. Like, what did I do? Do you have any relationship with him? Have you heard from him? Has he called you up and he said, what's the deal? Like anything like that?
No, we don't talk.
Okay. Do you want it that way?
I'm good with it.
Has he tried to reach out to you?
No.
I got to let you go. Give me
Mike Florio and Ben Johnson.
The nerd.
I wouldn't call his ass either.
What's that?
So,
yeah, no. Why would he call him?
As
what
we
a weird
spin
question,
through
Mike.
the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, Drew, Billy, and Armen bringing it to you. The State of the Sports Union in Wisconsin today. Hot Take Hump Day, 877-794-1973. We were talking about our list of the disappointing athletes of the past year. Miles Turner, Brandon McManus, Rashawn Gary, Aaron Banks. There are others. Most hated outside figures in Wisconsin sports, because Ben Johnson's vaulted to the top of that list. He may have passed Craig Counsell. We had that conversation during the season. And like, is Ben Johnson now more hated in Wisconsin than Craig Counsell? I think he is. The Brewers took care of Counsell and the Cubs and sent them home.
Yeah, they sent them home. They won. Now, will Craig Counsell be more hated if indeed the Brewers and Cubs play again in October? Yeah, maybe for the week. But I do also believe there's we like our guy more now. Like there's the we're happier here, and we're going to tell ourselves that we're more happy as well, because it's also somebody that is kind of is obviously tied to you. It's almost like you ended up feeling like you upgraded with their best friend. That is what it is. But the Ben Johnson one, as bullishly and frankly, as much as I love it from the pettiness standpoint, I want more pettiness in sports. It's my favorite part of sports. Is the get back is always one of the sweetest gets in the game. Knowing that you're able to have some retribution on somebody giving a little troll, especially in the era of trolling, Drew.
Yes.
I appreciate it. I like that he adds the spice to it. I also appreciate that he's a little bit of a showman and said, hey, it's going to make the game something that people want to watch. Because I bet the McCaskies, when hiring, said, this game's been freaking unwatchable for the last 5 years. Make it spicy, make it mean, and make it hurt for them, because we hate that team more than anything.
I'm old enough to remember old scrap iron Phil Garner when I started covering the Brewers. He was the skipper, and he was a brilliant guy on many levels, a savant in some ways, in business and in sports. And at some point he gave me an hardcore. He had this manifesto of how to redo the draft in baseball. And his thing was, let's not give these guys $1 million for being a first round pick and then they never make it to the big leagues. Let's have a structure where we put it into a trust, and then as they reach each level, they get
more money
the
back.
cash. You get the cash when you get to AA, you get the cash AAA, you get the big payment when you hit the big leagues. He's like, he was like, incentivize the guys. Don't just give them $3 million. And then this was in the wake of, they had a first round pick, Anton Williamson, that didn't work out. Third baseman from Arizona State.
Can he run college football?
Yeah, but Gar, he should.
This sounds like the commissioner of college football that I'm dreaming
of. One of the things that Gar got was the Milwaukee-Chicago thing, and he leaned into that. They was going to fight Ken Harrelson, the White Sox announcer. They had so many dust-ups, the Brewers and White Sox, in those days.
Boy, a lot of bad blood. Yeah, a lot of bad blood between these two ball clubs. Here we go. They're coming in. The managers are going at it. Yep.
Terry Bevington, Phil Garner.
But no one else was fighting. Then
Gar leaned into that. He leaned in. He knew it was good for business. Like, screw those guys. And this wasn't even the Cubs, man. It was the White Sox. The Brewers didn't play the Cubs, but it was always the White Sox. And he's like, he leaned into that because he knew, he just had a sense that was good for business and it was going to resonate. Now, we were the little brother in that situation because the White Sox had all the money, and like we were always, it was kind of like he was playing into that. The complex of this whole region where screw Chicago, like they come through here and they go up north and they go to Lake Geneva and they take over Door County and all that stuff.
They're enjoying the Dells more
than enjoying our
state.
And then we go down there and they got to pay tolls and blah. What are they?
eat an overpriced lasagna that you're trying to sell.
He
pizza.
leaned into that, but we've seen it with Bears coach. The Packers have been so dominant for 30 years. Every Bears coach comes in. Job one is to beat Green Bay, and it plays. And it's
Always
so Ben
does.
Johnson's playing the hits.
Yes.
And so in some ways, like, he's a prong. Everybody before him did the same thing or a variation of the same riff, right? And it plays. It's good for business. You got to throw that red meat to the fan base. And I think LaFleur could do more of that. I think LaFleur, and we were talking about that and externally as well to a point. Obviously, you don't want to inflate the importance of one game. One game's not going to define the season, and they could lose both games to Chicago and still win the Super Bowl, whatever. But he needs to lean into that with his own players and get them fired up.
You and I talked to, I can't remember who it was. After the Packers beat the Bears at Lambeau. And we mentioned it, maybe Devontae Wyatt. And we mentioned how good did it feel to be able to get that one for the head coach? And it was kind of muted. It was kind of, but I also wonder, Drew, if that was just, frankly, it wasn't talked about. And I'm not saying you got to walk in and make it about you, but I've heard many a great legendary tale of Forrest Gregg walking into the locker room again when you were the little brother of that rivalry and saying, you guys start the fight, but you leave Ditka's ass for me.
Yes.
Right? There could be a little bit of that. And I would really appreciate it from the Packers head.
Yeah, gonna need it.
This isn't going to be just another game going forward. This is going to be what it should be.
Now that they've met in the playoffs, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun. We're having a blast with you as we move forward. We're going to get to halftime. It's halftime of the week for us. It's Wednesday, Hot Take Hump Day.
That's crazy.
Theme of Hot Take Hump Day is State of the Union, State of the Wisconsin Sports Union. So if you have hot takes about where we are, where we're headed, what's good, what's bad, what needs improving, hit us with those. And we'll talk to Jon Greenberg at 7:30. Big weekend for the Admirals coming up, Hawaiian night and charity game. Big stuff happening on that front. We're glad you're hanging out with us. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin.
Good morning, Wisconsin, and welcome to the Huddle.
I'm all for someone huddling if you have something to say.
It's time to wake up and talk about the teams you love with the guys you love.
It's just about getting the group together. I need you, you need me today. Let's keep touching each other. Let's make sure we feel each other. Let's make sure we smell each other's breath.
Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
You need 15 or 20 huddles to correlate with a number of cameras.
Take the cameras off the field, then there'll be no huddles.
Now gather around because it's time to huddle up.
West left slot, 323 wide stick on one. Ready, Biller for blitz. If it looks like man coverage, I'll check. I'll go 200 jet. You got to cut and crack. Now cut and crack. Red, right, 18 bob on one. Ready, cut him and crack.
If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here and try to run this play in the alley.
We know exactly what we got to do. All right? That's all we're going to do. Let's go out and kick some tail. All right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Keep doing what you're doing. You got to sit our guys out and make the play.
Be right, all the way outside. Wide, left, fake, 396 bag, D hand, C puck. Is that long enough for you?
I want you to be proud of your profession. It's a great profession. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it.
With Drew Olson,
Mythical, legendary figure.
Bill Schmid,
Oh my God. This man's been out all night.
and Armen Sarian.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Sanchez, we ready?
Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin is on the air.
Let's huddle up on this Wednesday in the good land. The Huddle, Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin, 920 Milwaukee, 1070 Madison, everywhere on the iHeart app, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and the X. Drew, Billy, and Armen bringing it to you. Hot Take Hump Day is underway. You can get us your hot takes at 877-794-1973. We're actually priming the pump. We got a theme today. We don't usually do themes on Hot Take Hump Day.
This is impressive of us.
Wherever.
Yeah.
But was the State of the Union last night. We avoid politics on the show, but the State of the Wisconsin Sports Union is a perfect topic for a Wednesday at the end of February.
Dang right it
Coming
is.
off a Bucks victory. Badgers are rolling in basketball. The combine is underway. We're going to listen to Goody momentarily. But get us your hot takes, 877-794-1973. Now, do you guys have any? We've been talking about most disappointing athletes in our athletes and coaches, I guess.
Yeah.
So we came up with Miles Turner, Brandon McManus, Rashawn Gary, Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers would be there. And I did see reports, and I hope people are actually possibly going tonight. Depending on, listen, we were naughty yesterday, so I don't know if we're deserving a Bucks game. The 3-year-old. I don't know if we've earned the trip to go see the Beard tonight that we were planning on going and having and watching the Bucks try to take down the Cavs. But somebody online said that they're not even announcing Doc before the game. Like they decided to
want the booze.
They we're just gonna not do that. We're gonna just let Eric just roll right into tip off. Let's just not do any of that. So I have to confirm that for myself. So I need to be able to hear that, and that wasn't just one individual potentially missing it. But Doc Rivers would probably be right there near the top of the list. And Drew, we said it, like, I don't think it's gonna be a magic elixir if you move Darvin Ham over one seat. But he did win the one game that he was into the chair, and I think they keep zooming in on Darvin Ham with the pen and the paper right there. And I think old Ham Sandwich might be doing a little bit more on the bench than most lead assistants.
The Ham Sandwich, that was my guy, man, for a short minute there.
Really, you're thinking about venturing out tonight? I thought you'd be hard down watching the NHL with Washington and Philadelphia.
Oh, come on now, Tampa back in action against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
How long did Drew have that quiver in his?
Hey now.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Vegas Golden Knights, though, they return to the ice later on tonight. So I got until 8:30.
I was getting smoke, and I'm always like getting friendly fire in Armen's mentions, and people are asking Armen about me.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Like, somebody was mad at my take about like it wasn't even. I wasn't dumping on.
I think it was Turd.
I don't know, but it was somebody who like was upset because I told you like, oh, it's not really going to be this flashpoint for the NHL surge, right? It's like I'm old enough to remember when Caitlin Clark dominated the NCAA and they got higher ratings than the men, and everybody was all fired up, and then it went away. It's like, does anybody watch? Like,
it definitely doesn't help when she gets hurt. Yeah,
but I just mean like in the NCAA women's game, like when she wasn't playing anymore, the ratings went back to where they were, and it's like, yes, there will be a temporary spike. It's a sugar rush, it's a little dopamine hit. But it's like, I've seen this before many times. We talked about it with Dolph, like. Brandy Chastain scored this goal for the Women's World Cup. Every World Cup, people are like, oh, soccer. And then the World Cup goes away and like,
Yeah, and I get it. I totally do. I know we've seen it in times. But I don't think it's just like wishing upon a star that all of a sudden people are looking for it. This belief that you just are birthrighted into your spot in the sports hierarchy. I think we see sports get knocked down pegs all the time, and it ebbs and flows. Again, does this mean that all of a sudden hockey is going to be the number one sport in America? No. However, like you start seeing the attention towards it, and I get it. Is it going to be the same? But you say we've seen it before. We've saw it once 46 years ago, where the majority of the people that are now watching into the demographic weren't either alive or sports conscious at the time. The games and the ability to be able to watch the players that are in there and that ended up, walking down the aisle last night at the State of the Union, those guys then end up being on television for the next 4 to 6 weeks, Drew, where those guys, half those guys went to play college and you maybe saw them if you were in that spot. Like, it's a very different climate that you're dropping into right now. And I think to compare it to the 80s, like, sure, we can compare it to 2000 or 2010 or whatever soccer one is. But that's also, soccer goes right up against the NFL. This is going up against the NBA, where half the teams are actively trying to lose.
Yeah, but the thing is, and people who are beating the drum saying that the NBAs should be on life support. Well, again, they look, their revenues, their TV deals are locked in for like 11 years. It is what it is. But it's just the dopamine hit of it. And it was someone saying like, oh, the rinks are full and there's all these high school teams. Like, okay, so where does it grow from there?
He said it was big in Lake Country. Is what he said.
Well, I'm sure it is. There's a lot of money in Lake Country.
That doesn't indicate growth either.
No, but that doesn't indicate growth. And like, hey, the rinks
how
are
does it
full.
Not though? Well, how does it not indicate growth when over the last 30 years you've seen the sport continue to become more into the sports lexicon?
How is the gold medal going to be a flashpoint when the rinks are already full and like the people maybe there'll be a few new people coming on?
That's the thing.
The 12-year-olds who their buddies are playing hockey and they're trying to figure out, am I going to go out for the basketball team? I might get cut. I might do wrestling. Maybe I'll play hockey because 3 of my friends are doing it and I just watched the NHL. Like, to say that doesn't happen to 10 to 12-year-olds, I don't understand how we say that.
But again, if you're not skating from the time you're like 6 to say, I'm going to start playing hockey and strap on those, it's a bit of a leap. It's not like going out for wrestling or track where you've never done it. There's a barrier, and I'm not even talking about participation. Like, again, I'm saying it's just not gonna. We've seen it before. Like, they tried to tell me the X Games was going to be the thing, and it never was. They tried to tell me that the gaming and people are going to go to fill stadiums to watch people play video games. That hasn't really happened. Like, there are tournaments and stuff
there, but they don't go. It's
popular, but it's not. I'm saying it'll stay in its lane. You get that little bit of a dopamine hit every time there's a World Cup. People are like, this was amazing, this was incredible. It happens every year in the NHL.
Yeah, but we never win in the World Cup.
But every year in the NHL,
when did the men win in the World Cup?
True, but people live through it, and then they have exciting games when the U.S. does win, and they want to
like to the round of 16. I don't know that we can compare the gold medal to getting to the. Yeah, but to get to the knockout round, I don't know that we can compare that.
Let's say the U.S. wins the men's World Cup for the first time ever, shocks the world.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to cause a surge and spike in soccer ratings and participation? It's already really a pretty robust, right? That's what I'm saying. Is like, it's not. We found our level in a lot of ways.
I think you're trying to judge this in like I saw somebody say, "Oh, it really worked with that 4 nations face-off." Okay, I guess if we're going to judge it in a 12-month sample size of how much people are playing, sure. But like, what we're talking about is the growth of a sport. That's going to be a generation's time. That's going to be 20 to 30 to 40 years.
It's not like the next day.
I know, sport, like we're in a spot where we need to be able to be right and know it right away. Yeah, this one's going to take some time to breathe. And it's easy to just say, well, this is how it's always been. I mean, there's also people that said there's no way that we're ever not going to be watching boxing. And instead, the only thing that's drawing people to that sport is a retired guy to see if he's going to get knocked out by a YouTuber.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, but to say like you just sit here at this spot, I don't think that's the case for sports.
At your level, and we go through this every year when there's a great NHL. If the Stanley Cup goes Game 7 and it goes overtime, and then people talk about how great the handshake line is and how this is amazing. The NHL playoffs are so great. You hear that every year. Does it mean people are going to watch, Tampa and Toronto on a Wednesday night?
But Drew, that's also the end. Right? Like what you're describing is the last game. And what I'm saying is this is where, and what you're also saying are 2 teams. So 2 fan bases are genuinely invested. Everybody else watching with a very passive interest. This is the first time in almost 50 years, almost half a century, where everybody has had a victorious one team. And then that team then has those stars go and play in the sport for the next 2 to 3 months. So, like, again, comparing it to the end of a Stanley Cup final where it ends in Game 7, and then you don't see the game for 3 months, and you roll into summer where you're excited and you're going swimming and you have vacations. Like, we're still going to be watching sports for the next 2 to 3 months. And the NHL is going to be on. So I think this is the timing of it is why it has the chance to be bigger than the other ones. Not just because the sport is way better than everything else that you're going to be able to watch, but it's because of the excitement, and it's then going to be on. It has not had that part of the lightning strike, I don't believe.
But when they're not wearing the U.S. jersey, I can't wait to watch Connor Hellebuck play for the Jets.
That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see that reaction when he rolls back in there.
Well, see him stand on his head.
Well, I think that's where you judge, like, what do we mean by it? That's why I keep saying it's a sliding scale. Popularity could increase, but just because it doesn't overtake the NFL doesn't mean it was.
We talked to Greeny.
Doesn't mean that it doesn't win. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's not good.
In Milwaukee, it might not hit the same way because we don't have NHL. Yeah. People have said that too.
We talk to Greeny every Wednesday, and I'm sure, hopefully, that this will spark some tickets for the Admirals. People want to go see some puck. I hope that happens.
Yeah, my point though is like I think the growth is from a new group of kids that would be into it, or like fans that weren't into it before.
People
that's
like
my point.
Like
to say like
Billy, your boy's age, like, can we skate? I want to skate. I want to play hockey. Like, and
that's where Troy says maybe we're seeing the boom from the 80 gold, where their kids are playing, where they were watching, and maybe they were, Drew, like you said, 13, 14, and it was too late for me to skate. But dang, when I get a boy, when I get my daughter, we're going to get outside. We're going to skate. And you are starting to see a little bit of the growth that people probably did enjoy the sport, maybe got introduced to it at that point, and then their kids are coming through. Like, this is generations. And again, this isn't going to be something that happens overnight. I do expect their numbers to be really, really good. I expect the NHL playoff numbers to be phenomenal this year. And then you'll see if it absolutely doubles in. But like this is the timing of it is the reason why I think it's great.
Okay. 877-794-1973. We got Mike in Shorewood on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Good morning, Mike. Welcome to the Huddle.
What's up, fellas? Yeah, just want to give my quick state of the teams in Milwaukee here.
All right.
Start with the Brew Crew. To me, I think the Brew Crew, legit title contenders, but unfortunately for them, and you see this in all sports, there's a generational team that's the roadblock for every other team. And unfortunately for them, the Dodgers have built the best team money can buy in a generational all-timer in Ohtani. So as great as they may be in their World Series contenders, they just may come up short because they run into that team. The Packers, the pressure is on, man. There's no excuse. Seattle was great, incredible defense. Darnold was an all-time heater during the Super Bowl run. But to me, the Packers and LaFleur are on the clock. You have everything you need. You should be a title contender. You had no business losing either of those games to the Bears. And I think things are going to change. All these Bear fans getting hyped. You're going to have a first-place schedule, and things flatten out. You're not going to have 8 fourth quarterback comeback wins. They had an all-time fourth quarter last year. And as far as the most disappointing to me is definitely the Bucks. I thought the way Horst pulled off a rabbit out of his hat after the debacle of Damon and pulling his Achilles, pulling off Miles Turner, acquiring him. He's been such a major disappointment. I thought he would be a hell of a team coming off a NBA Finals run. It was great down the stretch for the Pacers, and he's been a non-factor. And him and, let's face it, guys, Doc Rivers, I think he's on the hot seat, man, because he's been a bust too. So in order, I think the Bucks have been the most disappointing, and especially Miles Turner above McManus or even Rashad Gary in my mind. Thanks for the time, fellas.
All right.
Dynamite, as always. Just tremendous. Rack them up, line them up, and shut them down. The Brewers one, I want to start there, the generational team. I guess I don't know that we've fully embraced the thought that could potentially be the case. Maybe it's just the thought that you don't want to. I don't necessarily know Utah Jazz fans. You guys would be able to tell me that. Did they, like, in the midst of it, just be like, well, shucks. We're going up against Mike. We're going up against the Bulls. It is what it is. Yeah. Like, there's
a level of acceptance, but I think they believed they were going to beat them both of those times.
In the next 5 to 10 years, we may look back at this Dodger run as one of the most dominant runs in pro sports. Like, because we are kind of grouping them in, and I do sometimes, of like the 2018 team, kind of the same. Well, no, that one didn't have the greatest player that's ever played the sport. It hasn't had the guy who actually hit 3 home runs and struck out 10 guys in a clinching game to go to the World Series. Now, sadly, that happened against you. right? So there is the moment where Mike is pinpointing it. As bad as it sounds, and maybe it's a loser mentality, you're kind of running into that team.
That's why
I said that time,
and that's why at the time I said
might be tough.
Beating the Cubs was a generational series win, and I was made fun of it at the time by some. But the reality is, I think we'll look back at history that way, saying, we weren't going to beat the Dodgers, but the fact that we did beat the Cubs in that series, and we did get the playoff series win against the Cubs in Game 5. In some way validated that sort of era, that run in a lot of ways, because we might look at it through history saying, well, that was the Dodgers of the 2020s, so give me a break. Just like you're kind of judged, like you said, Billy, in the NBA in the 90s of, did you make the finals against Mike in some ways? Except for the Rockets when he was out, but it was like Charles made the finals, Carl and John made the finals, that type of deal.
Okay, so as
Sean
we do,
Kemp,
and again, the state of the state here on the Hot Take Hump Day, the Bucks won a title within 5 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
world
And
champions.
so it's like, you expect them to at least make another conference finals. You expect them to be
Get the
close.
head on, Billy, yeah.
Right? And we don't know, where's the Bucks window? Is it opening or closing? Depends on 34, right?
Yeah.
Don't know
He's a
at
walking
this
window.
juncture.
Yeah.
Don't know. But the Brewers still have this it's still kind of fresh to us, having the Brewers win the division and having the Brewers opt out of a series.
Yeah, getting used to them being good. Yeah.
At what point is that I'm still in the, hey man, they're in the playoffs. That's great. Take
Absolutely.
a chance. At what point is that not good enough? Because the Packers are beyond that point, and Packers have been for 30 years where it's like, if you don't win the Super Bowl, it's not even worth going to have a season.
A lot of fans that feel that right now. I'm sure about both teams. Yeah.
Well, the Brewers?
And
I
the
still think
Packers.
the Brewers is it's an everyday thing in the summer, like we talked about. And
I agree with you.
you look back at the Adonatio comments that pissed everybody off. He's not wrong.
Dude,
you want them to be
1,000%.
good. You talk about the
absolutely
Bucks game last night and not having is there juice or buzz around the Bucks? Yeah, they've won 7 of 10. It's nice, but it's not like a ride or die thing right now. Because Giannis being hurt again sucks some of the life out of it. But with the Brewers, you go there every night. It's going to be entertaining. There's going to be 35,000 people there. It's going to be hopping. There's a juice there that comes. And when does that go away? Because they don't win on the big stage. Can you still enjoy April to October and then
and then let it happen.
compartmentalize and then let October happen and then let the chips fall? Or is it October or bust? That's an interesting psychology thing.
Drew, I think the greatest determining factor with it, or the greatest comparison to it, would be the Badgers basketball team. Right?
point.
I mean, they're there with you throughout the entire winter, right? Right now, they're out on the West Coast. Props to anybody making it. Props to everybody making tip-off. Props to everybody making tip-off tonight.
I will not see a second of that game.
A second of it. I am going to queue up the Varsity app and see if I wake up to Butchie and Matt at some point.
I'm pretty impressed by that.
I'm excited to see if I wake up to Butchie and Matt at some point. But
schedule text to Butch.
Yeah.
Good game at 12:30.
Great game, man. Sounded great.
Yeah.
But to be able to live with the team for 4 to 5 months, see them grow, see the ebbs and flows, see the development of players, the stories that you didn't necessarily see. I mean, if any team in the state is going to give you a Brewers-esque story like a Caleb Durbin, it would be the Badgers basketball team, where all of a sudden 9 of the 11 players that are factoring in are kind of different. And then you get to March and you kind of have to let it be. I think Badgers fans have more of the heat on it because they got this close, and Brewers fans haven't in that time.
It's true.
But Drew, I do think there's fewer like the three of us in this room that are still enjoying the Brewers just being in that conversation, being good every single night. And there's some that are ready to turn that temperature.
Meaningful baseball in September is so much better than being eliminated from playoff contention when the first cream puff is sold at State Fair.
One of my favorite things is knowing that we can go to training camp, have all of this excitement of what's going to happen at practice throughout the day, but still the number one thing that we are talking about and that we want to talk about is the Brewers last night. That's one of the sweetest things into September, the first 4 weeks of the NFL season, when the action is as hot and heavy.
Good. Yeah.
And they're both good. And one team's trying to push to the playoffs and one team's trying to run to the Super Bowl and start it.
Badgers hoops having a nice season. Okay. So where are we? Where's the gauge? Is it, if they don't make the second weekend?
Oh, well,
it is for some people. I think.
Is it?
I think it is for some people based on, all right, it's been since 2017 we made a Sweet 16, and it's always Bo Ryan was a Final Four guy. Yeah, the last couple of years he was. It doesn't mean he was there every year, but I don't think you can intellectually, honestly, look at this program and the way Greg Gard runs it and the way he's navigated new eras and the way he's navigated the portal and the situation with changing ADs and money situations, and not say he's done a tremendous job every year finding a way to balance program guys versus transfers, identifying the right guys, innovating with offense when he had Kirk come in and redo the offense, and they're doing it again. They get better every year. He knows how to coach.
Sure.
Still wears a suit, all those things.
So, but if
Riley's favorite coach,
if they don't make it to the second weekend, though, did we waste our time? It's not validated.
So
it's not. It's
It's a great question.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think some Badgers fans feel that way because there are some people that will only look at March success. But I don't believe that. I mean, I think he's done a fantastic job this year. And I think whether or not the ball tips your way sometimes, in the round of 32 doesn't necessarily justify or not justify the season. But in the reality of it, it does, because people will judge how you do during tournament time. That's the fact of the matter.
And Marquette is kind of on a reset, gap year perhaps.
Yeah, it's been a tough year.
Until they win the Big East tournament.
Will they be better next year? Are they going to have to go shopping and spend some loot on some transfers?
Well, you hope so. And then it seems like they've admitted that they should have done that, or at least that they've admitted their mistake. And that's one thing I think you have to give them credit for, is on the first hand, they tried to adhere to principles in the program and say, we're going to try and stick with program guys. We're going to try and do it the old school way and see how it works. And listen, they had 4 great years with a great group of guys.
Led by a transfer.
That's true, but he wasn't a portal transfer. But you're right. He was a transfer. That's fair to say. And they said, we're going to give it a shot. Obviously, it's been a disaster this year. To their credit, they've, how many programs, how many coaches say, we were wrong, we're going to reverse our mistake, we're going to cut our losses, and we're going to reinvest in the portal. And that's kind of what they've been saying. That's been the messaging the last couple of weeks, is Marquette will kind of eschew the old idea of not doing the portal, and they're going to go for it. 1 year of losing was enough for everybody.
Now your system, throw it out the window.
I
like that Shaka's going to go study at the Dabo Sweeney School of Portaling, Drew.
I love it.
I wonder if he's going to go full Dabo, who apparently, they actually had a nice little portal class there at Clemson as they first decided to this year, but he has complained about it at every stop. But it's kind of like the dad that gets into the pool and he's like, oh, I hate this. Oh, it's so cold. This is terrible. Dad was like, oh my God, people are negotiating against teams and there's bad faith and there's poaching. This is terrible. Why are you guys doing this? Buddy, we've been in here for 4 years.
Giddy up.
Welcome to the show. We all know what this is.
And that's the one thing that Marquette and Shaka have said, that, hey, we're going to try this without the portal. We're going to try and invest in our own guys and build it that way. But he's also not been a guy that's constantly been complaining about the system either, and made himself, vocal about it.
He's just said, I'm not going to do it.
He's just like, we're going to try this way. We believe in this way. I wish some people would say, look, a lot of people complain about the new age of kids getting money and the portal and the things, but unless your team is winning, nobody actually wants to stick to a principle.
You wish your guy would get more credit. I like that.
That's exactly what it is. I wish he'd get a little more credit for saying, we're going to at least try to do this. Give us
halftime is upon us, boys. Scott Dolphin's about to come in. Let's make our adjustments. Let's have a little Uncrustable, perhaps.
I think Dolph's got a.
That's right. Dolph is out.
Yeah, he's got a little something today. So
that's right.
So we got some open time here.
We got some open time. You know what we got to do? We got to hear from Goody.
I was going to say we got some Goody, and we got a couple more good hot takes here. Some on Badgers basketball, which will be fun
excellent. State of the sports unit. I forgot that Dolph wasn't with us today because he was in the building. He made Armen's coffee.
I remembered 5 minutes ago.
Me too, honestly. But
it's still halftime even without Dolph.
We got Goody and we got a lot to talk about. I mean, we do.
Matt LaFleur blew off Aaron Andrews, so we won't be getting a halftime report today. So we'll be right back. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Huddling up on a Wednesday, Drew, Billy, and Armen from headquarters. 877-794-1973 gets you to the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Send us your hot takes. Celebrating the State of the Union, State of the Wisconsin Sports Union today. That's our theme for Hot Take Hump Day. So the good, the bad, what needs improvement, what should we be optimistic about? Where are we with all of our teams that we follow and love here in the good land? Before we move forward, we're going to hear from Goody momentarily. But I'm heading after the show today. I don't have to have lab work done, but I am headed to Game Day Men's Health.
Wow, let's
Going to Brookfield to see my friends, Abby, Patty. I see them every week. It's a men's health clinic built for every journey. Check out GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Find a clinic near you. There are 400 of them in the United States, and they're popping up all over the place. Testosterone therapy, peptides and vitamins, weight loss, anti-aging and longevity, sports injury recovery, hair loss recovery, sexual wellness, and ED treatments. Check out Game Day Men's Health, the entire menu. Book an appointment, get a consult. They'll do a quick blood draw, and they'll talk to you to see if you can benefit from any of their treatments. Lots of dudes go in there in different stages of life, but after the age of 30, testosterone decreases. That is science, and they can help you with that and a whole list of other things. Check out GameDayMen'sHealth.com. All right, so what's the big story out of the Combine except for people eating the flaming hot cocktail sauce at St. Elmo's as they do religiously every year during the Combine? What's the big story out of the Combine so far? Anything?
Drew, I'd love to say that there seems like there's a ton of it. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of great smoke right now. The confirmation was Ian Cunningham, new general manager of the Atlanta Falcons yesterday, said that Kirk Cousins will be released on the first league day of the year. We kind of knew that one was going to happen.
Brandon Ayuk on the unemployment line.
It was shockingly, isn't that crazy? That's one of the greatest stories to be able to discuss all year long. But right now it's a lot of posturing. There was the fact that they're not going to try to take out the tush push this year. They're going to let the UFL do it and then see, hey, look, they took it out, and the amount of head injuries on fourth down plays that were inside of a yard went down substantially, so now we have to institute it. So they're utilizing the UFL as AAA for Major League Baseball. So congratulations for the NFL finally realizing that they can do that. But you're in a spot where no one really is saying a whole lot yet. Sean Payton's giving up play calling duties.
Yeah,
giving up play calling duties after he fired his offensive coordinator after his offense put up 7 points in the NFC
and
AFC title game.
There seems to be sort of a disagreement in Arizona about if Kyler Murray's talked to the Cardinals since the year's ended. That's the only other thing I saw. He says there's a source that says he hasn't even had any communication with them, and they have said that he has. General Manager Monty Osenfort said he has talked with Kyler. So I don't know how that there's a gray area there, but hey.
I think the conversation is either yes or a no.
Unless it's like we've talked with his representation. Does that count as talking with him?
Well, maybe they texted and didn't FaceTime, right? Because you have to call him on FaceTime.
Texted, didn't call back. Maybe got tagged or got a text liked. Does that count as talking?
Oh, that's fair.
There's a lot of gray area, so that's the other story.
All right. The story yesterday was Brian Gutekunst met with national reporters and then had a gaggle with the local reporters. Let's take a listen to the local gaggle.
Yes.
And see if there's anything meaty that we can chew on this hot take hump day. Hit it, Arm. Here's Brian Gutekunst yesterday in Indianapolis.
Evaluate draft prospects this week, but even more pressing, 2 weeks till free agency. As you decide on players to retain, give more contracts to, or to release and move on from, over the years, the Packers have done a pretty good job of deciding when to move on from players. I mean, Micah Hyde had a great career in Buffalo, but a lot of times you've made the right decisions. Why do you think organizationally, both in your tenure and while you were under Ted, have you been able to do that?
That's a good question. I think, I think one of the things we do is I think we're very honest with ourselves and the evaluation process of our own football team. We spend a lot of time on that as to where guys are in their kind of career arc, and understand that in that decision-making process, you can't be too sentimental.
Brian, what did Rich give you as helping out, especially since you guys had outward support for it?
Yeah, again, losing him is tough just because of what he brought to our football team. But I think there were just other opportunities that he wanted to pursue. He's coached a long time in the National Football League, and as you know, that can be a grind. And I think he had some other opportunities that he was looking at. Really good coach, and wherever he ends up, that place is going to be better for it.
Statutory picks and the cost of signing free agents that aren't free agents. But another layer to that as well is if you restructure contracts to make space to sign free agents, you lose out on possibly compensatory and then kick the can down the road for paying later on. How do you evaluate whether that's worth it This week's big, of course, to figure out maybe who might be out there in free agent market. I take it.
Yeah. So the most important thing, I think, is the 2026 season and how we're going to chase a championship. That's the most important thing. That will never change. You do have to balance it to make sure that you can be competitive year in and year out. So, again, you don't want to, pile up that credit card a little too much so that you can't be competitive down the road. But the most important thing right now is how do we put out the best team we can in 2026.
Brian, when we look at special teams, obviously with Rich here, there were, statistically improvements, but, had highs and lows. Moving forward, what do you want to see from the group to, take that next step? And, what do you want to see from, how the new coordinator coaches that group?
Yeah, I think, again, you're working through the process of a new coordinator now. Once we have a chance to make that hire, getting with that coach and making sure that we, from a personnel perspective, we talked a little bit about it earlier as far as the new kickoff rule and how many more kickoffs there are and the body types we're looking for. But to me, it's just consistency. It's always about consistency and making sure that we're ready for whatever situation that comes up in a football game and ready to play winning football in that situation.
How big are special teams just in general?
Incredibly important. Not only from a field position as part of the game, but all these games are coming down to a kick or a couple points. So everything matters. The details matter, and that's a big part of winning a football game.
Brian, you mentioned that there's more out there to accomplish for you guys when you kind of look back at last season, stuff like that. In the nil era, are players a little more ready for this level? And with what you guys have done, they're very aware of the Packers, like what the standard is and stuff like that. Is it harder? Is it easier? Is that what you stress in these interviews and this whole process?
Yeah, I think NIL has changed some things. I don't know whether it makes it easier or harder. As far as the players go, I think they're certainly more educated about the business part of this. But as far as their development and moving around, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure how that's affected. I think it's very individual. Some guys have gone from lower levels to higher levels. It helped them tremendously in their development. But at the same time, the lack of continuity sometimes has hurt guys. So I think it's really individual in nature. But the business part, they're very well versed now in that part of it.
In announcing extensions for you, Ed talked about the collaboration that you've done with Matt and Russ to try to improve and enhance what you've already accomplished and not just run it back. What has that collaboration been like as you attack, trying to find a way to not have the end of the season that you had this past season?
Yeah, obviously Matt, Russ, and I have been working on the football thing for a long time now. It's kind of part of that as well since Mark retired, and it's been really, really good, and it's really very consistent. I think the thing that I enjoy most about the process is just we're not hiding from anything. We're very, very realistic about where we are and what our team looks like and what we need to do. So, again, this is a big week for us. The next few weeks are very important for us, and I think we're excited about what we can do to help the football team next year.
Do you have continuity with your scouting and your personnel and your evaluation? John Eric obviously leaving, but people understand the continuity of you and Matt and Russ. What about in this week and this part of the game?
Yeah, excited for Jon Eric and his opportunity with the Dolphins. That's very well earned, and have Halfley with him is, I think, exciting for them, and certainly a loss for us. But at the same time, we've had a pretty big staff. We're fortunate to have a big staff and a lot of experience on our staff. So I really don't expect us to skip a beat. There's so much crossover between the guys that we have in college and pro and how we handle things, and they've been around for a long time. So the new areas that they may jump into because Jon Eric's not here, they probably already have to some extent, and they're very well versed in that.
How did Will Redmond get on your radar?
A bunch of our college scouts had been through, whether it was LSU or Auburn, where he's been working and had a relationship there. They were very high, spoke very highly of him, and he was going to, regardless, going to do some stuff with us this spring. And then it just kind of, as he did, it just kind of, made some sense to bring him in. I think he's going to be a really good asset to our group.
When you look at this draft class, what position groups do you see where there's a lot of strength, a lot of depth?
Yeah, still working through it a little bit, but the numbers in the offensive line seem to be up quite a bit. I think this particular, and we saw a little bit last year, we'll probably see a little bit next year, but through the end of the COVID years and the transfer portal, we got a lot. We're kind of finishing up a lot of the 5, 6, 7 year guys. So some of the the bigger man positions, there's just a bunch of guys that have developed, maybe didn't play their first 3 years and played the last 2 or 3, some older guys in that group. So certainly in the offensive line and the defensive line, we've seen some of that. But the numbers across the board look pretty good. I think it's a good draft. Certainly there's going to be a number of opportunities to help us.
When it comes to international games, what did you think of what the Vikings did last year with like a doubleheader, Ireland and London? Would the Packers ever be open to Germany and London or something like that?
I don't know if we have a whole lot of choice in that. But no, I think I've talked about it before. As an organization, we have to be, really, really good at traveling abroad and playing those games. I don't think we've had a ton of success over there. So we have to get back to that, or not back. We have to get to a point where we're really, really comfortable going over there and winning football games. And so, for me, that just means you got to be excited about it. And, you have to make sure that your process is tight and then continuing to evolve because it's not, I think it's just going to be more,
Brian, you mentioned you joked around about Micah's rehab and stuff like that, but how much improvement comes from within, whether it's Micah or Tucker or guys like that are true leaders on your team?
Yeah, our 2026 will be defined mostly by that, right? The guys that are already here, and what they do to get better and better our football team. And I'm excited about that because I really do like the group of guys we have in that locker room. There's some guys that are really, they're coming into the best years of their career. They've got a lot of experience under their belt now. We're a seasoned team, and I think right now what we have to do is we have to be able to get in those moments that we've struggled with the last 2 years and finish them off. And I'm excited about that.
What is Micah nicknamed offhand?
Huh?
What is Micah nicknamed?
We'll keep that. That's
But they're both doing well.
Yes.
As far as what you can see and what you can tell. And
right.
Like that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You mentioned scouting first-round guys, even without the first-round pick, if for nothing else, for down the road. If there was someone that you came across that you really coveted this year, you expected to go in that range, would you be willing to make a move to get back up in there? Do you have what it takes to do that?
Yeah, I think it would take a significant amount of resources to get back up and to the first round. But if that player was available and that made sense to us, we would never shy away from that. I wouldn't expect that to happen. Usually, the areas of the first round we could get into would be more towards the back half, and so I wouldn't expect it. But if the right player fell, then we'll be aggressive about it.
That said, with the draft, if you have to wait to 52 and you're watching all these players go off the board, you also reflect on, hey, we got Micah. That's like 6 months ago this week. As you think back on that trade and how it's all progressed, what are your thoughts on that and the opportunity cost of it?
Yeah, obviously it didn't end the way we wanted to with the injury, but couldn't be happier with making that move and what Micah brought to our football team, not only on the field and the way he disrupted offenses and tilted the field in our favor, but he was an excellent addition to our locker room as well. And that's important to us. And I'm excited for what the years to come with him are going to look like.
Brian, as you think back over combines past, do you remember guys making big moves up this particular week in your mind, in your evaluation?
Yeah, players don't really move up and down the board with the combine. This is the main thing is the medical and getting to meet these players. The testing is awesome because we have them all here, and it's nice to kind of compare apples to apples, so to speak. But this is an information gathering time for us. And there are times that, whether it's a face-to-face interview, whether it's something they did physically, maybe it's a medical thing that we had to clear up, that it does change the course of where we might see that player. But so again, it's really, really important. I think the headlines of a guy ran really fast and that just shoots him up the board. I think most of the time, particularly now with all the GPS data and the things that we have, that doesn't usually happen like that.
Brian, I know you guys want competition at every position, but when you look at, your team specifically in certain positions, where do you feel like you guys need more competition at?
Yeah, I think throughout, quite frankly, but certainly in the secondary, I think we're going to need to add some competition, probably inside linebacker, throughout the offense. There's to me, it's not about positionally, it's more about our entire football team because how we're going to play. We have a new defensive coordinator. There's so many things that are undetermined right now, but to me, if you get enough well-rounded football players that can compete at any level, the better you're going to be.
Two more guys.
Rashawn Gary, what do you make of the season he had and the career so far with an injury and extension? 7.5 sacks, 60 pressures, you pointed out, but no sacks the last 10 games.
Yeah, and then sometimes with pass rushers, there's an ebb and flow to that, as far as production goes with sacks. But he was impactful towards the second half of the season. Maybe not as much as he was in the first, but he was impactful. And Rashawn's got all the talent in the world, and he's produced at a high level for us since he's been here. And we would expect that next year as well.
Brian Gutekunst, general manager.
Would expect that. Would expect that. We won't have to see it. Right? Like there's a nice little out there. There's a nice little spot there.
Right.
Drew, like you said, we just need to pick up on the code words, and I'm trying to figure them out.
I'm trying to crack the code. Absolutely. Cut and crack. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. The Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, 920 Milwaukee, 1070 Madison. Drew, Billy, and Armen bringing it to you on this Hot Take Hump Day. Get us your hot takes, 877-794-1973. Been spinning through the, the state of the union in Wisconsin sports. Everything that we like and watch. We want your opinions on that. We just heard Brian Gutekunst. What stood out to you the most? Like the Bisaccia thing, like that was the local section, and he also did. So he did like 40 minutes of Q&A yesterday, which is good availability because he's not usually generally available.
Probably the most that we're going to get.
A couple of windows.
2 availabilities, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. So what stood out to you from the conversation, Billy?
The Gary thing does, again, you can read in between the lines. It's pretty clear and evident that they're gonna be moving on. I did love the statement of the biggest step or the biggest story of our 2026 team, or the biggest leap that we're going to take from the 2026 team in this year is going to be internal improvement, right? Like, as much as we always get fascinated and excited with what's next, what can they bring in, who do they need to add, ultimately their best players need to play their best in their biggest games. Now, a lot of their best players were not available in their biggest games, right? So health and availability late into the year is huge. But Drew, this team is going to go as far as Christian Watson and Matthew Golden on the outside continue to ascend to, right? And how far Jordan Love continues to ascend. As much as we'd love to completely revamp their entire offensive line, they're probably going to have 3 to 4 guys new on there.
Yep.
You can't fire everybody. So Aaron Banks probably going to be on the team, going to have to play better. Their biggest steps forward going to be internal improvement.
Going to draft a center or find a free agent. So now, and the other thing is, you're coming off of Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs. Awesome. Nate Hobbs, Aaron Banks. Not so awesome.
Yeah, not so awesome.
So then do you go back into the pool, or do you wait, or are you stung? Are you gun shy? Or do you say, all right, let's go get us a center. Let's go get us a defensive tackle.
Man, if you can get yourself Linderbaum from the Ravens, then
they're keeping his ass.
Maybe you're in the conversation, right? But he ain't going. Like, they're not getting him out of the building. You're going to have to draft one and develop him. Or maybe, again, internal improvement. We're going to do Carry the G Radio, the podcast with Aaron Nagler later on today, which has now started to turn into the Jacob Monk Love Show. He might be your starting center, and that's an internal improvement develop guy. So like that, I do think they might try to, Drew, but their big day one swing, I do think they might take that year off. They might take the year off of having the big shocker there in the first hour and a half of free agency that blows our socks off like the last 2 years.
I'm with you. We'll see.
There might be a couple of those cats.
But they got some holes to fill, and they might get rid of some guys who are making pretty good glue.
So they might have more money to play with than we think. And this one has got to be tough for Goody because he is a Ted Thompson guy, scout at heart. Combine does change a little bit when you don't have a first-round pick for the next 2 years. But I'm excited to watch Micah Parsons highlights every single time the Packers' time on the clock would come up. So at 20, just play the video of Micah Parsons chasing down Jared Goff, and you'll feel a little bit better about your first-round pick lack.
Absolutely. All right. Greeny's going to join us at 7:30. Talk a little puck. Talk a little about Olympics. Talk a little bit about Hawaiian night and the charity game. That all lies ahead.
Sanchez.
It's the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin.
Good morning, Wisconsin, and welcome to the Huddle.
I'm all for someone huddling if you have something to say.
It's time to wake up and talk about the teams you love with the guys you love.
It's just about getting the group together. I need you, you need me today. Let's keep touching each other. Let's make sure we feel each other. Let's make sure we smell each other's breath.
Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
You need 15 or 20 huddles to correlate with a number of cameras.
Take the cameras off the field, then there'd be no huddles.
Now gather around because it's time to huddle up.
West left slot, 323 wide stick on one. Ready, Bill for blitz. If it looks like man coverage, I'll check. I'll go 200 jet. You got to cut and crack. Now cut and crack. Red, right, 18 Bob on one. Ready, cut him and crack.
If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here and try to run this play in the alley.
We know exactly what we got to do. All right? That's all we go forward down to. Let's go out and kick some tail. All right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Keep doing what you're doing. Get them to sit our guys after and make the play.
Be right, all the way outside. Wide, left, fake, 396 bag, D-hand, C puck. Is that long enough for you?
I want you to be proud of your profession. It's a great profession. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it.
With Drew Olson,
Mythical, legendary figure.
Bill Schmid,
Oh my God, this man's been out all night.
and Armen Sarian.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Sanchez, we ready?
Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin is on the air.
Wednesday edition of the Huddle continues. Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin, 920 Milwaukee, 1070 Madison. Of course, everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, YouTube, X, and Facebook for your streaming pleasure. What other platforms can we get on? We got to get on Twitch, Kick, and LinkedIn next.
I like LinkedIn.
Quibi.
Yeah, I want to get on the Mendoza platform. That's what that was his lightning rod during the national title. I'd listen. LinkedIn might be a good one. I did check in. LinkedIn did still have my identification. When I logged in, it sent me the email saying, "Hey, you haven't used this in like 4 years. Just wanted to make sure that was you and not somebody trying to hack in."
Someone alerted me because I was the same way. I hadn't logged on for a long time. They're like, "What's your problem? You haven't accepted me on LinkedIn." I'm like, "Really? I didn't know that." You're like, "Yeah, it's been like 6 years." I'm like, "Sorry, I wasn't really logging in." But I guess people are treating that more like social media now, more and more.
They really are.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the thing is, like early on in the radio career, 20 years ago, like I didn't realize, like, oh, LinkedIn, okay, I accepted everybody's,
thing,
100%, yes.
And then I would have like salespeople go, "Oh, you're linked into this guy that owns XYZ Corporation. Can you hook me up?" I'm like, "I don't know that dude.
Exactly. It's like
Never met that guy."
I did the same thing. I was in accept on every single
Yeah,
thing I
like,
saw.
It's like Facebook. You tend to over time use certain platforms more and then use them less. I don't really go on Facebook much anymore. One of our texters found my, texted in yesterday. I want to say it was Red Hot, Tim Knott, that asked, "Is this you? Is this like an AI?"
The real Armen Sarian Facebook, yeah.
This is Armen Sarian. This is definitely a picture of me and Laura from my cousin's wedding, like 5 years ago, So
it's a great shot of you.
Thank you, man.
Great shot
I got
of
the
you.
sunglasses. We're looking
It's
real
a nice
cool.
shot.
Yeah,
It's a nice shot.
like 10 pounds ago. Yeah.
Billy, do we need a hero of the day? Because I got one for you.
We do. All right, good. Perfect. We have a hero of the day, and our heroes walking amongst us are Current Electric. Listen, we know sports on this program. What we don't necessarily know is electrical fixes outside of maybe changing a light bulb. After that, we're going to call Current Electric the superheroes. And there's a lot of companies that want to get your services and want to help you out. However, only one wants to earn your trust and earn your business. That's Current Electric. Give them a chance. Call current.com. That's callcurrent.com for more information, Drew. Home of the superheroes.
I'm going to reach out to them because at Stately Olson Manor, there is a ceiling fan in the primary bedroom that it only works if the light is on as well, which...
we got to fix that.
Yeah, I got to fix that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's got to be something electrical. It's got like 5 buttons on it, but in order to get the fan to rotate, the light has to be on, and like, that ain't right.
No, that can't be right. Yeah.
Because it's at nighttime, you don't want the light on.
Absolutely.
So I'll be calling our friends.
That's
at
a big one.
Current Electric. But the hero of the day to me is going to be a guy who I've admired for many years, going back to when he played, Jay Billis.
Let's go.
Jay Billis was on with Chris Russo yesterday, and he was asked about Mick Cronin acting like a total bully and jag at his press conference.
Mm-hmm.
And Billis said, "I love Mick, but I said I really didn't think the press conference thing. I didn't like the press conference thing. I thought it was kind of petulant and unnecessary." And regarding coaches' demeanor at press conferences, and we get it, when your blood is boiling and stuff. And Jay Billis said, "Look, I'm okay with the feeling that the media doesn't understand basketball the same way coaches do. Congratulations. When I go into a restaurant, I'm not a chef, but I get to opine on the meal. I'm paying for it.
That's a good guy.
I get to opine on it. I don't see why this is so difficult. I understand they're a competitor, but the competition is over, and now it's time to talk about it, and it's not that hard. Regarding coaches, Billis went on. They win, and they're nightclub comics. They lose, and they can be petty at times. It felt really good that Mick apologized about the whole thing, and to me, it's over. I guess I'm talking more broadly and globally on this, but these things aren't that hard. There's no reason to act this way. If you don't like a question, just say, look, I prefer not to answer that. It's not that big of a deal. He was rolling. He was talking about
Jay.
Yes, about the tough travel schedule. Then it spun into the tough travel schedule.
Mick Cronin's favorite conversation. Yeah,
which I think actually he's got points about, but I think it gets blemished up.
And then here's
he goes.
Here's Billis. The way I recall it, the Big Ten extended an invitation to UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon. If they didn't want to travel, they should have said no. I'm not listening to any of that.
Right.
These schedules are difficult and it's going to be tough, but I don't get that. Your school is the one that decided to join the Big Ten. You could have stayed in the Pac-12 and you would have been home by dinner. That was your choice. Jay Billis, our current electric hero of the day, for laying it out. I've always liked Jay. I mean, sometimes he throws some hot takes.
Sure.
He's a lawyer. He's an analyst. He gets it. He's one of the guys that when I hear him opine on things, I trust his judgment and his vision and his knowledge. And I feel like I learned something listening to the dude. But when I saw those comments, I'm like, that's a hero by Current Electric.
I've liked Jay Billis ever since his, I believe it was his This is Sports Center commercial back with Hubert Davis when he sat down. What is wrong with these people in this cafeteria? I don't know, Duke boy. I've enjoyed him for a long time because he's at least smart enough to walk circles around you and doesn't necessarily want to. That one right there, Mick Cronin has made a living, has made a career off bitching and moaning and being one of the best at it in the sport. But the answer to UCLA, this is the other one. Mick, you don't have to be the coach of UCLA.
Right. You were at Cincinnati for 13 years. You were a Cincinnati alum, I think, or a guy.
Well, and I do believe right now he'd be able to get a lot of jobs. At the end of the year, if he wants to go somewhere else, I think he'd get a majority of the jobs that are open. He would be one of the prime candidates. So if you don't want to be the coach there and you don't want to travel anymore, leave. It's not that big of a deal.
I just think he wants people to recognize, or it's an excuse making. He wants people to say, hey, I'm at a disadvantage. So remember that when you judge me. So a lot of it is, and I'm not defending that. I'm just saying it's a lot of him just, wanting to do that a little bit, wanting to make excuses, wanting to do that. And the whole thing about, they could have stayed in the Pac-10. Yeah, but he doesn't make that decision, right? So maybe it's a shot at his AD and administration more than anything. Jim Boeheim did this a lot at Syracuse when he constantly complained about going to the ACC and said, we don't belong here and stuff like that. But Jay's point is right. Like some of these coaches take things, and for good reason. I mean, there's a lot riding on it, but they take things so seriously. We've seen more coaching outbursts this year than I remember in some time.
That's true. Pressure cooker, having to recruit your own players every year.
Yeah, the Jerome Tang thing. I know that who's a Colorado coach going off one. So
Cronin, they won a big game at Illinois Saturday.
That was a huge win against Illinois.
Into the tournament because they got skunked. They got beat by 60 against Michigan and Michigan State, and their trip to Michigan. So that might get them in the tournament, and he's probably not going to get fired. Although, Johnny Vegas is my resident Bruins fan, and he thinks he should be fired.
Well, they're
underachieved.
Yeah.
They played some ugly basketball. I was with Johnny Vegas in Puerto Vallarta, and we watched a bit of that Michigan State.
I was going to say, you saw the Michigan State game with him. That was a tough one.
And the problem is that at UCLA, once upon a time, I don't know if it still is, but once upon a time, that was the West Coast blue blood for everybody. So the standards higher there. So they're on the 10-11 line right now. They'll probably make the tournament, but being a 10 seed or 11 seed isn't enough for UCLA fans to say, hey, we should be contending every year.
The thing with UCLA is they're not. Again, it's the same thing that we said at Wisconsin. They're not putting the resources into.
That's exactly it.
They just think they could just open the doors and. That used to be the thing about
not anymore.
When Krzyzewski was at Duke, a lot of guys is he a great recruiter? They don't recruit, they select. They got McDonald's All-Americans standing in line wanting to go there, and it's like but now when you have to pay guys, truth be told, they were paying guys back when Kareem and Bill Walton and those guys were there.
They paid more back then than they do now.
For sure.
When Sam Gilbert was their bag man.
Yeah, Sam Gilbert was paying guys, and Marcus Johnson and all those guys. Yeah,
Jerry Tark hated that.
Oh,
because everyone blamed Jerry Tarkanian for being dirty at UNLV when he's like, they're doing it at UCLA. Why don't you guys?
But you guys are reading his book while he's doing it over here.
I love it.
But it's one of those where you talk about the perception, Armen, and kind of some excuse making. It's like, hey, this brand, although the blue and yellow is still the same.
Yep.
What it is and what the program ultimately can be is going to be a little different. I don't think there's as much of that, if you localize it to Wisconsin. Like some people would say that that's going to be Luke. I don't think Luke Fickell has done that at Wisconsin, right? Like while the results have been bad, especially this year, I do think the last thing he did was make a bunch of excuses.
True.
He probably could have and found a bunch of reasons to. Instead, maybe you didn't like the answers that he gave. Of we just need to get better and we need to figure out who's going to be our leaders, and at some point it's going to be the stepping up. But you saw some of that get a little bit different towards the end of the year. When you're so set in your ways, Drew, I think it's tough for some of these coaches to a lot of guys just simply don't want to let go of what used to be, right? Of how the sport used to be and what it used to be and what this was and for Mick Cronin, this isn't the job that he probably signed up for when they moved the conference. It's a much different task and it's a much different situation than he thought he was walking into, but it's an adapt or die kind of world. And you are seeing more of these guys that go this way get clowned than get a whole lot of second chances, it feels like.
Absolutely. Hit us up, 877-794-1973. Because of the State of Union, we're talking about State of the Wisconsin Sports Union. And when you talk about, you tend to, because it's the sign of the times, but you tend to focus on the negative. How about the positives? How about Mark Johnson? How about Kelly Sheffield? How about guys who are at the top of their game and don't always get enough, flowers thrown their way?
Amen.
For how about River Falls winning the WEAC? The WEAC being the dominant Division III conference in the land,
being the Big Ten of Division III. And shout out Matt Walker for going and cashing and getting a job at Drake, a spot that's now started to really, really win and throw some resources behind it. Right? Like the thought is, we only want to look at they lost their last 5 games. Packers are all bad. Although Goody mentions it in there, Drew, and you talk about the most important parts of the 13 minutes that we heard last hour. He says right in there, we're a very good team that can go win the Super Bowl. And as much as the end result doesn't feel that way, the process would show, and showing the work said they were a lot closer than further away from being one of those teams that could have hoisted that trophy this year.
Again, we go back to just analytically, what's more sustainable? Doing the things that the Packers did and keeping that going, or the Bears thinking that they can come back from 10 points down in the fourth quarter 7 times a year.
You know how I feel about that. Now, the reality is that the Packers
on it.
You do start to wonder, what if the Packers were able to stay healthy, a little bit more healthy near the end of the year? But then you also ask yourself, what can we do about the seemingly multitude now of late game collapses that the Packers have subjected themselves into? Because you have to look at yourselves in the mirror, be accountable for that.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize you have the ability to be a lot better than you are. And that's the positive of this. The positive is the Packers seem to have the talent when healthy. They seem to have the ability, and they seem to be in position to be a lot better than they are, but they lose these games late.
But you can just look at like every team can do this. And it goes back to, I'm old enough to remember when Lindy and Fonte said that they were 4 plays away or 6 plays away in the season from making the playoffs. But if Romeo Dobbs catches an onside kick, if Xavier McKinney hangs on to a pick, they might beat the Broncos. If these plays didn't go their way.
No.
But again, it was, they blew double-digit leads. Well, they got double-digit leads.
So
it's like you can look at it 2 ways. So you can look at it 2 ways. And it's funny because when teams come back and win the way the Bears did, it erases the 3 bad quarters that you played before that.
Drew.
So that's, again, it's all part of the fun of the ride. And the results matter. The only thing that matters is wins and losses. I get it. But when you look at the process and you're wondering if it's flawed, let's put it this way. I would rather have, if you're going to have if you're looking ahead from one season to the next, I would rather try to rectify losing games with late leads than try to continue winning games that I'm behind.
That I'm down double digits. Yes.
The more sustainable.
What is it? I think it was 6-3 in games where they had a double digit lead in the last 5 minutes. I mean, more than half of the regular season games they played, they were up by 10 with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
That's a good place to live from. That's a good place to start.
Good baseline.
That's a good place to start going into next year.
I like my chances of winning when I'm up double digits with 5 minutes left. Now, it didn't always work out for the Packers.
And you got to figure out how to do it.
But I like the setup there, and I'll take that as many times. If you want to start a game with 5 minutes left and me up 10, let's start from that point and let's play.
Well, in that part of it to me as well, it goes into Goody's statement. At no point did he say what a lot of people maybe wanted him to say, which was right there. Hey, man, we had all these leads and we choked them away. All right. So what we need to do is we need to get better from the ground up. We need to make better decisions late in games. We need to we need to coach better. We need to play better. All the list down the line and hold everybody accountable. What he said in there is, we have the team to win the games. and we expect to be winning these games. We are going to be best in 2026 from internal improvement. The internal improvement to me was not only players. That to me also was the coaching staff and being able to find ways, Drew, to close out those games. That's not only a player situation when they say you send messages through the media. I think that one was to the entire building and, himself included, sure. But it's we need to find ways to be able to close out these games because we're close. But now what we've put out there is still a notch or two below where we ultimately need to get to.
There were some questions, guys, comments on the text line and on the YouTube comments about some of Goody's comments. So let's get to a couple. Jerry in a plow truck, did Goody say that they needed to add competition to the cornerback room and the inside linebacker position? Does this mean the writing is on the wall for Quay?
Those were two of the main ones that he did point out. The Quay Walker one's fascinating because I don't think the play has been consistent enough to warrant the kind of dollars I think he's going to get. And with I do think he's going to get paid. I think he deserves to get a significant raise. Drew, I do think if he hits the free agent market, he gets more than definitely they'd be willing to pay.
Absolutely.
And then he's probably going to be able to perform too, especially when you saw Tyron Hopper be able to play a little bit better in some limited spots.
Yeah. It seems like the writing's on the wall there.
They did a good job, though, telling us they were going to extend him.
He's no longer protected by his first-round pick status.
No, especially when a second-round pick next to you is playing that well.
Balling.
Well, and Edgerrin Cooper's another one. You talk about the internal improvement. I think the Packers' defense this year was predicated on him being one of the top 20 defensive players in the sport. I thought he got better throughout the year, but it wasn't consistent enough to be up there.
Here's one for you. This is a Dan Needles reach. Is Edgerrin Cooper the Jackson Churio of the Packers?
Has to be the guy, young guy. You put a lot of hope
in. You put
a
lot on him and you expect it a lot. And it's like, it'll come and it's good, but it's not as good as you want it to be right away.
That's funny how that works. You put so much expectation where a good year turns out to be underwhelming, right?
I
mean, Jackson had a good year last year, but
it's 2020, right?
People were underwhelmed by it somehow. Now, I think at the end of the year, it started to pick up attention. Like, okay, he's actually playing really well here. But there was a point where it's like, all right, go be the MVP now right away. And it's like, well, you're not the MVP. You're not a doctor yet. That whole thing,
Again, with this whole state of the sports union in Wisconsin thing, we talked about disappointments. Miles Turner, Doc Rivers, maybe Luke Fickell to an extent.
Yeah, Luke Fickell definitely would be in there. Yeah.
McManus, Quay Walker, Rashawn Gary. Those are all the disappointments. We talked about some of the positives before, like, Kelly Sheffield, Mark Johnson, like what they keep running out there and being good. And in terms of underappreciated dudes, Greg Gard's in that.
Gotta be
underappreciated, right undervalued. It's like, and as weird as it is to say, I put Jordan Love in my top 5 underappreciated Wisconsin athletes and sports figures.
He had a really good year. He was, I think, I'd say top 5 a lot of year in terms of in numbers, metrics, week to week.
A lot of the advanced metrics put him there.
Yeah, but I think he was getting the job
counting
done.
stats.
Yeah, the counting stats not necessarily, but the advanced EPA numbers would put him there.
But the counting stats were so good.
No, not bad. 100%, Armen. And I think rightfully so, the counting stats were the best they've been in his career. And the number one question I think people had for him was, can you throw those touchdowns without throwing the picks? What do you have, 6 picks this year?
Yeah, this whole question that
slice those in half.
Yeah, the narrative that seemed to pervade was the whole, can you trust Jordan Love? But he seemed to have to deal with that. He seemed to, that was put on him more than it seemed other quarterbacks that have been less trustworthy, in my opinion. I just didn't understand it. I thought most of the year he played pretty well. He was making his reads, making his throws. He was productive a lot of games. And then people would just sit around and say, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Like they just weren't impressed. I don't know. It just seemed like
the heater that he had 2 years
ago.
Right?
But if you look at the, and I know it's a different age and a different era, so it's very hard to be comparative here. But if you look at the first 3 seasons for Rodgers and for Favre, hey, those numbers were comparable.
Oh, sure.
It's just not fair. I know it's not fair.
But didn't win the title, and he was 27.
Right. Then it's going to be playoff success in the end.
But Drew, you guys, we were all I think we were in the same seats when I almost blew a gasket in the first segment of Packers OT after the wild card round when somebody said, we just need more out of Jordan Love. I said, wait a second. Are we talking about the guy that just threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns and no picks?
Absolutely.
And got bounced in the playoffs?
Yep, you're
That's who we're talking about?
And that gets frustrating because it's like you either are expecting him to have a touchdown drive every possession or else he's not good enough. I mean, that's a little bit of a crazy standard. But then again, it was like, okay, but the third quarter, there wasn't enough ball control. And So you can go both way on it. And that's
For sure.
That's the struggle of playing in the playoff games, putting so much into it. And when you lose one, you nitpick every little thing.
Absolutely.
You know?
So what about underappreciated? Now, this is tough because I do believe he's getting flowers, but Drew, I don't know that the job he has done gets the requisite credit for just how impressive it is. Because I think my hot take on the Milwaukee Brewers is from the pitching as well as hitting, the best the core or the outlook has looked in this like run of success, the synced up at the same time with the youth coming through where they legitimately might have 7 young pitchers with 4 to 5 years of club control at least, who I think could all be top 4 rotation pieces. While Jackson Churio is sitting here, who I think could be an MVP. Jesus Madej is coming through, just ripping up the cover off the ball, as well as a Gold Glover and Platinum Glover at second base who might hit 25 home runs and a Gold Glover in the outfield. They've had like one or the other. They had the pitching in the 18 run, but they had to go buy some of the hitting with Yelich and Kane. In 2008, that run, they had all the offense you could, but they had to go buy Greinke. They had to go find a Markham. The best in this 20-year run of excellence for the Brewers, the best run of success they've had. It feels like right now they might be positioned on both sides of the ball to have the most success going forward. Their cores might be built up the best.
So underappreciated, Matt Arnold.
I mean, incredible how he's been able to piece this through together.
Really good. Absolutely. When we come back, another guy who's incredible, our buddy Jon Greenberg, El Jefe himself, president of your Milwaukee Admirals. Big weekend of games coming up for them. Huge Hawaiian shirt night. They've got their charity game, which is one of his favorite games of the year as well. We'll talk to him about the Olympics and the juice that might come, or the bounce
State of hockey, come on.
Might come out of there as well. And Admirals been deep in the playoffs the last couple of years. See if they can continue their run of success. He joins us next. It's The Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Rolling along the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Madison, worldwide. And we're happy to welcome our pal, President of the Milwaukee Admirals. We call him El Jefe. It is Jon Greenberg. Good morning, Greenie.
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Fantastic.
Phenomenal, better now.
Fantastic. How about you, my friend? Tough one last night, but you got a point over in Des Moines.
Yeah, and at this point of the season, no pun intended, points are everything. So, we want to make sure that we try to get points every single night. So if it's one, that's okay. That you'd rather win and get the two, but as long as you're getting one during the night, that's important at this point. Just want to continue to stay in this race. Right now we're in a good place. We're up, I believe, 5 or 6 points over Rockford, which is the team behind us, and we're in the last playoff spot. So we just got to keep staying there. But at the same time, there's also opportunity to move up, which this weekend will take a long way to go to getting moved up into 4th place against Manitoba.
Well, it's one of those things too, Greenie, where you obviously want to be playing your best. You want to worry more about yourself than always everybody else. But there is a part of it where as long as you're in, you have a chance, but you definitely want to be playing some of your best. How have you felt like the guys have come off of the break and been able to fight together?
Yeah, I think, it's been a little bit of up and down, which has kind of been the story of our season. And we hope to, get into a good stretch here. It's getting into March, as you said, getting to the point where you're playing well at the end. The hot team going in, the hot goaltender, that always carries a lot of weight when you get into the playoffs. So we want to be in that position.
Talking to Jon Greenberg, president of the Milwaukee Admirals. Greenie, what was it like for you on Sunday morning and the rest of us? Were you as nervous at the end of the gold medal game as you would be in an Admirals playoff overtime?
Yes, maybe even more so. I got to be honest with you. My alarm went off at 7:00. We had a long night the night before with the concert, getting out of the building late. So, unfortunately, I did not drag myself out of bed to one of our fine establishments here in town, and was so excited to see the turnout for watch parties at 7:00 in the morning. That's pretty awesome. But I didn't wander too far, and it was good because I'm not sure my heart could have taken being upright for very long. So it was really fantastic to watch. It's so exhilarating each and every minute. Like, when they got to overtime, you want the puck in your hands and on your stick, and it was so exciting to watch.
Well, 3-on-3 really does add a lot. I know everybody that's involved in hockey has an opinion on 3-on-3, how they feel about it, but there's no doubt it adds for some exciting hockey, some wide open ice. And we see that a lot, obviously, at the Admirals level in the AHL. A lot of, those 5-minute overtimes with 3-on-3 can be some of the most exciting hockey you'll ever see.
Yeah, it's true. It is 100% true. And, I will say I am one of those that for the gold medal, I would think they should play 5-on-5, but that's just me. For what, just pure excitement, 3-on-3 there's nothing really quite like that. When I saw that they were playing 20 minutes of 3-on-3, I'm going, well, somebody's going to win here because these guys, they can't get through 20 minutes of playing like that.
Absolutely true.
It's a little bit like having that runner at second base to start an inning and extra
Somebody's
innings.
Gonna have to crack one home.
It's a little bit microwavy.
Yes.
Well,
Greenie, it's been a hot conversation. It's been the debate since on the show of like the ability for this to be a launching point for the sport, the accessibility to it, the amount that the NHL's on TV, these guys being in it, and the stars, to take nothing away from the incredible gold medal win in 1980, but those weren't the stars of the NHL, and maybe now the stars are greater than they've ever been. The talent is so good that I think it's going to be a great launching point for the sport where more and more people are going to get into it, more and more people captivated into it because of the games on TV, how much it will be into the playoffs, but also because these guys in the NHL are playing. I guess I didn't know as much of the fight as it sounds like that the NHL players put forth in their last negotiation to be a part of the Olympics. This was really, really meaningful for the players to be allowed to do this, right? It seems like that was a massive sticking point, and it's shown why they've played with so much pride for the country.
Yeah, I think these guys have always wanted to play in the Olympics. This is a chance to play for your country. It might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and a chance to win a gold medal with the USA across your chest is a really important thing for these guys. Same thing up in Canada. Those guys all wanted to win for Canada and all the other countries that were represented. So, yes, this is not to use another pun, but this is a golden opportunity for our sport to continue to grow, both the men's and the women's. I think girls hockey has always been on the upswing, and it shows with the quality of play at our college level. At high school level, we're about to get to the state championships for both boys and girls hockey in Wisconsin. As a matter of fact, we are hosting the state sectional finals on Friday night in our building. It's going to be really a lot of fun to see that. And, the growth opportunity here is enormous. And so we have to all take advantage of it.
It's better to be remembered for winning a gold medal in overtime than it is losing in the tournament and trashing your hotel rooms as they did in the late 90s. The U.S. Roenick and Chelios and those guys. As I recall, Greeny, you can check me on this. Wasn't the coach that year former Admirals coach Ron Wilson? In '98.
That sounds right. Yeah.
That sounds right.
He did have a lot of control over that group. So, these guys, this year they're certainly probably. I'm very curious to see the hangover effect for some of these guys who have been partying since the game ended and now have to go back to work. So,
they were all Miami last night.
Yeah. Everybody was Ovechkin.
Potawatomi Sportsbook. There's some gettable numbers here, Greeny. Don't worry. We're gonna do the due diligence for you.
And the imagery was just great of Jack Hughes. I mean, speaking of the hangover, Jack Hughes and the missing tooth. Now, it's a good reminder that all hockey teams, including the Milwaukee Admirals, have great team dentists on hand to always help out. But you seem like having a guy lose his tooth, just the imagery of hockey. It worked out perfectly.
It really did. About that, you lose a tooth and score the game-winning goal. The fact that he lost a tooth and basically didn't miss a shift.
I was going to say didn't miss one.
It's just that's so hockey.
That's so hockey. That's exactly it.
I saw somebody tweet out that Jack Hughes doesn't miss a shift after losing a tooth. If that happens to LeBron, they've got pallbearers. So it's just
there you go, Billy. It's that culture that
so much fun.
love.
Let's use Anthony Davis instead.
That is
street close.
That is the analogy. And
so funny.
The way hockey goes, you got a goalie stands on his head and still could have lost because of a fluke shot, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Or Jack Hughes also committed a penalty that could have cost him the gold medal.
And he was worried about being on Barstool the next day as he's sitting like, oh, man, I'm going to get clowned for the rest of my life for this one.
Yeah. Incredible moments. Yeah.
So, Greeny, this weekend, Armen and I are going to be there on Saturday night, backyard sports night. I don't know that you understand the amount of nostalgia that I'm going to see and feel when I hold that Pablo Sanchez bobblehead that people can still get on the special ticket package. Backyard sports computer game. Kids don't know what a CD-ROM might be here, Greeny. I wore that son of a gun out and may have broken my parents' computer playing backyard football and backyard baseball. This is a home run that we're doing coming up on Saturday night.
Yeah, we're really excited for the opportunity to do this. This is something that a couple of members of our staff got involved with back last summer, and they heard that this was really starting to take off again. It's making a resurgence after being out there in the late 90s.
Well, that's the thing,
early 2000s, and so this thing is rapidly back on the upswing, a little bit retro, and we've taken advantage of it. And the ticket package with the Pablo Sanchez as an Admirals player bobblehead. I saw it. The head is ginormous, so awesome. It's really kind of fun, and we're going to have Pablo Sanchez in the building Saturday night, that'll be fun. And,
he's there.
Billy. He's going to be. And people are going to be able to play some of the games and our players. We've done some fun stuff with our players as characters. So it's going to be a neat night. And in addition, it's also our first Brewers giveaway of the season. So a little bit of baseball, a little bit of hockey. First 2,500 fans get a Brewers Admirals Hawaiian shirt. So
that's a winner.
Get there early. Get there.
Yeah,
early.
that's a shirt everybody wants always. I know it was popular last year. The thing is, if you want to talk about, the culture, right? You want to know what the culture is, then you just talk to the marketing and entertainment team at the Milwaukee Admirals. Because you guys always hit it right with the theme nights. You're always hitting what's popular, what's on the and I'm sure you're at the forefront of that, John. You're with the cool kids. You know about the culture. But the thing is, it's amazing. It is having a little bit of a resurgence. And it's always, you guys are always on top of it. So it's fantastic. So then also Sunday, there's a Sunday matinee game, the 3:00 game, March 1st. Kids get hooded T-shirts, I believe, for that one and the post-game skate.
Yes, and it's our annual charity game. So this is a really important day for our organization. We play a game every year where we give a portion of the ticket proceeds to a great organization in our community. This year, Children's Wisconsin, and we still have a sampling of the tickets that we've deeply discounted. There's some $8 seats left. There's some $11 seats left. They're going fast. There's not many of them, but we're raising money for Children's. Yes, the first 1,000 kids 14 and under are going to get a hoodie T-shirt with our logo on the front, thanks to Children's. There's a post-game skate, our first one of those. You got to bring your own skates. We don't have those for you, but that's a 3:00 face-off and a really special day for our organization.
I know how it is. I know how important it is for you guys. It's important to all of us. Come on, everybody. Let's sell this thing out. Come on. This is for the kids. We got to get this thing sold out. The charity game for Children's Wisconsin, 3:00. We're so lucky to have them here.
And got to take care of business in these two games against Manitoba.
Yes.
Got to, because it's Canada again.
I was going to say, and it's Canada. So, Greeny, do we play the national anthem just like every single break? Should we just do the Pledge of Allegiance randomly during the under 6 TV timeout? Just rub it in just a little bit.
Well, we could, but half my team is Canadian, so I got to be a little bit careful about that.
That's the problem.
I don't want my guys getting mad at me, but
they're all from Alberta.
You will hear both. You will hear both anthems at both games this weekend. So, if you sing ours a little louder, that's okay.
Which guys, I love. I don't want to say it very loudly this week, but whenever we hear "Oh Canada," it's a fun night.
Their song is nice. They have a good song.
Yeah.
They do have a good song.
I have a feeling we're going to go 2-0 this weekend. Let's go.
Come on, Armen. All right.
Let's go.
My prediction.
Armen, take it to the window.
That's right. All right, Armen, come on now.
I love it. Greeny, thanks for hanging out with us. Looking forward to all the stuff you got coming up. I know the Gin Blossoms concert got Armen in the fields, and my boy Dropkick Murphys are going to say, "Hold my beer," and because that's gonna be a rocking night. That's a circle that
I can't wait.
Circle the schedule.
I got a set
for
list,
me.
John. I don't know if you heard about that. I got one of their set lists at the end of the show. I was front row and everything. So
well deserved.
Yeah, it was a great night. It was a great night. And yes, we got these two this weekend, and then school day game on Tuesday, Badger Band next Friday, Dropkick Murphys next Saturday. So it is an amazing time to come out to Admirals hockey right now.
Absolutely. Greeny, awesome. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend against the Moose.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Jon Greenberg, president of your Milwaukee Admirals.
And we'll see you Saturday. Billy and I will be there hosting as well.
All right.
So,
you can see our boys on the Jumbotron. That's why you go. You see the boys from the Huddle.
And I did not know that PS5 has a Backyard Baseball 97 now available.
I didn't know.
I didn't realize the resurgence was as real as it is right now.
I knew it was resurging, but I thought it was like one of those things like, TikTok, like old songs are new when they get on TikTok. Because I feel seen now as an elder millennial, Billy, that everyone likes backyard sports again. I used to play Pablo Sanchez and the kid Wheeler.
Pete
Wheeler, right? Yeah.
Pete Wheeler walking up to the plate with holding the barrel. There's going to be some education being taught today in the Schmidt household. Oh my goodness. Either that or a lot of potential neglect.
What?
There might be a lot of mom duty here today.
Right.
After I just realized that game's available.
You just teed me up. Potential neglect. Don't neglect that the aches and pains of your knees, your hips, your shoulders, your back, whatever's ailing you. Orthopedic Associates Wisconsin can help. Check them out. orthowisconsin.com is the website. World-class care right here at home. Clinic opening in Johnson Creek this year. It is a fabulous experience coming up on my 2-year anniversary of hip replacement surgery with Dr. Matthew Bong. The crew there can't tell you enough what a positive experience I had. So much so that I'm thinking about getting the other hip replaced just to be symmetrical.
You got to line it up.
I already get pulled over at every, at TSA every time. I got to put my hands up and go through the scanner because, I got hip, Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Titanium.
Who did yours?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go. So I will go see them again, and you should as well. OrthoWisconsin.com, Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. We're going to be back to close up shop. Show flies by. We're already halfway through the week. The Hump Day edition of the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin. The Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, Drew, Billy, and Armen. Closing ceremonies upon us for the Wednesday edition. We are over the hump, boys.
So we got to answer this text from Marcus in Iowa, because I'm curious to know what you guys feel, because people ask me now all the time. The number one thing we get asked now is, what's it like being up in the morning this early? And what's it like, as Marcus in Iowa asked, getting off work every morning like 8? Is it like Step Brothers? There's so much time for activities. Really so
much time for activities.
It is a weird feeling, right? Being done at 8. I mean, we always talk about how the show flies.
Weird. Yeah.
But
I'm still adjusting a month in, 5 weeks.
Yeah. There's an idea that you get the time for activities, the days open, but also you're kind of wiped at this early hour, right?
It does. And I spend most of the day wandering around wondering when it's time to go to bed.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Right.
I have found myself, Drew, looking at the clock and not believing it every single time. Whether I look at it and it says it's 11 in the morning, I'm like, it's got to be 4 in the afternoon.
I've been up forever.
Or I look at it and it's 6 o'clock at night, and I'm like, damn, it's 6 o'clock already. I thought it was just 3. So I've struggled with the timing of it 1,000%. However, I just now I'm seeing right outside, and I'm seeing the light, and I'm seeing some sunshine. I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel rolling through.
Sure.
And I'm really interested how daylight savings shifts this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, Drew, you talk about in the summer as well, when that happens, because it's going to be tough going to bed when the sun's up.
That's going to be a different beast.
If you try to get to bed that early, at least, which you should,
sometimes we might want to. Might want to, especially since a certain individual doesn't decide that he is going to nap anymore.
Our pal from down the hall in the news station, Benny, says that he takes a nap every day, middle of the day, and that's how he kind of he gets that sleep bank going.
Have you been
we're
trying?
Still adjusting.
Have you been getting the nap at all? Or
no, I try to power through, but then maybe on Fridays I should, because you don't want to run out of gas on Friday night.
Depends what you're doing on the weekend. I try to, but the struggle is how long do you take the nap?
And that's the thing to me, is the Fridays and Saturdays are the tough part.
Yes, 100%.
Trying to turn your clock upside down and then get back into the groove here. So,
although the interesting thing, in the middle of Saturday afternoon, I've found myself feeling like I get in a 3-day weekend. Because the show ends so early on Friday.
It's like having no class on Friday.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I sat there in the middle of Saturday and I'm like, damn, we're off tomorrow. That's a good feeling. I thought I was about to have the Sunday scaries on Saturday and didn't have it.
But then Saturday morning you wake up at 3:45 going, all right,
that one was a little bit different,
Or that Sunday, the looming specter of Sunday evening.
Glad that they have bass fishing back on television.
Let's go. I saw that.
That for 5 a.m. was a nice thing to have. That was nice to be able to fire that up and have something that I was witnessing.
Good and peaceful. Hey, Billy, what's our wake and bake story? Because as we've been working for a couple hours and we're sliding down the back of the dinosaur. There are people who just waking up, starting their day. What do we got for a wake and bake story? Brought to us by HappyPlaceHemp.com. Rob and Chris, purveyors of the best CBD products anywhere, including the wonderful Drift Seltzer and Drift Seltzer gummies. The Drift gummies, really
phenomenal.
Good. Seltzer hits really well too. I got to pick some up. You can use the code Huddle for 25% off and free shipping. All the other codes, throw them away. Use Huddle for 25% off and free shipping. What do you got for wake and bake, Billy?
Well, the wake and bake, now this isn't the stuff that helps you wake and bake. These would be the gummies that you eat after potentially the wake and bake story of the day really kicks in. And it comes from our own freak. Our sweet freak becomes the Greek freak.
Oh, yes.
Did you guys know Giannis has gummies?
Yes.
He's got the gummies. Now, I think it's just regular candy, though, right?
They're regular candy, kind of look like fruit snack deals.
I'm going to buy some. Yeah.
I just got it sent to me that I think that these are going to be potentially a gift going forward, right? And potentially, I don't know if the Easter Bunny has found these out. Because, listen, Peeps, nasty.
They're disgusting.
All right, like the chocolate bunny is a great touch in thought. Then you actually eating said chocolate bunny and it's hollow in the middle, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, am I just eating an oversized Hershey bar? Who's actually just buying a Hershey bar?
Well,
so this feels like an Easter Bunny win. And Giannis, dude, just strike him on the irons hot.
Absolutely.
I mean, like as much as somebody says, what are you going to get into? I'm getting into gummies. You can't think Giannis is going to be on a happyplacehemp.com. No, Giannis said, I am a family friendly. I got 4 kids. I got to find a way to make the money off of these snacks, Drew, that these kids are probably crushing all day long.
Just the other night when he got up in the middle of the game and left the bench and went to the locker room, and everybody's like, oh, he must have been, maybe he got traded or something, or he's pissed. And he doesn't like what he's seeing. He's going to get Skittles. Now he can go get his own gummies,
Thank you.
which are available in 3 flavors: tropical, featuring Giannis's face, mixed berry in the basketball shape, and
That's what I
strawberry lemonade in the Candy Funhouse logo shape.
They all sound good.
Yeah. Giannis is a candy magnate.
He's a candy connoisseur now. And listen, as a fact, I'm going to test this candy out for everybody. I have decided that I'm going to buy 12 bags and figure out exactly how to, because the first 10 or 12, the first few you don't necessarily know. You just got to consume. I'll let you guys know what's going really down with the Giannis gummies.
Fantastic. HappyPlaceHemp.com. Check out our boys. Code Huddle, 25% off and free shipping. They ship everywhere in the state. Tomorrow on the program, Thursday, Dolph is going to be back hanging out with us.
Can't wait.
Going to have a blast. See you at 5.
Peace.